Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, people, and welcome to Footy Judgmo. Rivals Rumble is back. That's why Ahmed is standing for some whatever reason. Of course, he's getting ready to rumble. Of course, got a couple of topics in my head that I wanted to speak about. Number one, big up everybody that is here. Listen, if you're watching this now, let's get to 100 likes right off the bat. There's over 150 people in the house, and we're just starting the show. This is going to be a fire show, so I don't want to stop every 5-10 minutes to tell you to like the video. I don't want to interrupt the conversation. So like the video. Also, if you're watching this on the replay, make sure to hit that like button, people. Subscribe to the channel, of course. If you are new, of course, if you are here, also let me know in the comments what you think about the conversation. Got a great panel for you today. Dayo's back, banter on the pitch is here. Patrick, the True City fan, is here as well. AA United, who is muted and speaking to himself. Ahmed, of course, is here. And the Bridge Nation. I'm honored to have you back at the channel, my man. And Jamie Story is here representing Liverpool, people. Couple of topics. Number one, does Salah deserve a new contract, a 3-year contract? Second topic.
More before you go on, please, real quick. Can you bring Jamie up and just put Patrick down? I don't like being on the same level with people who are below me. Just please bring Jamie up, put Patrick down. Yeah, let him stay with Chelsea and the guys there. Let them. Yeah.
Oh, Dayo, so nice of you, man. How nice of you, Dayo.
Thank you, Dayo. You're very considerate.
Put the Blues Brothers together. Yeah. So carry on.
Second topic is, does Salah deserve a new contract? And are Arsenal going to get stronger next season with the likes of Lewis Kelly gaining experience, with Nwaneri, with the targets that they have in Zubamendi or whoever? Do Arsenal next season will get stronger than this season? Also, especially with Liverpool being dismantled at the current moment with the Saudi rumors for Mohamed Salah, Van Dijk rumors to be leaving, also rumored to be staying. Trent is going. Sources from Spain are saying that they are definitely getting Trent Alexander-Arnold, to our favorites. And also Chelsea, top 5 is in jeopardy for Chelsea. They're going to be a Europa League team next season. Maybe top 5, Newcastle, Manchester City, of course. Are you in top 5 contention, Ahmed? United.
Can you hear me?
You can, yeah, you're a fraud. What is wrong with you? Your mic, bro. You're a professional YouTuber.
Damn.
Can you talk now? Say 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, mic test 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, can you get the mic closer to your...
Yeah, now can you hear me?
Yes, now we can freaking hear you, broski.
Okay, I'll speak like this, yeah. What was your question?
Are you in top 4 contention now?
Not with how we're going, bro. Listen, not with how we're going.
What about Europa League? Can you guys win Europa League and make Champions League next season?
I'll be so honest, yeah, we should be winning that. That should be the bare minimum of winning Europa League. If we don't win it, that's embarrassing on our half, innit? Do you get me? So the season is still awful, even if we win the Europa League. But you still need to win it, regardless. Yeah, that's what big clubs are supposed to be doing, winning things that they should be winning. Do you get me? So I'm not going to go into that competition, start acting like, oh, I'm scared of this team and scared of that team. We're out in pretty much all of it. So this is like the one thing they can leave with after a shocking season. So they should be winning it. So yeah, man. Obviously, Bridge is on Conference League, so that one's a different conversation. But yeah, Europa League.
Which one should we start with? The Salah thing? Is he a big... Listen, so the reason why I am starting this, because I was listening, I was going to do a video and I thought it's better to do to the panel. I was listening to Husam's show yesterday with the Liverpool lot. And one of the panelists, right, said something that I thought is very rational. He said that, yes, Salah has won us the league this season, but if you're going to be put on that pedestal, you cannot have the shockers when it matters against the big teams in the Champions League and in the Carabao Cup when the trophy is on the line. And that is why maybe Salah does not deserve a 3-year contract with Liverpool. Yes, he has had a fantastic season. He's about to break records and all of this. But he hasn't risen when they needed him, basically. When they needed him.
He's won them the league. 80% of their goals. Listen, what do you mean when they needed him? In the league, they needed him. He scored 80% of their goals. In the Champions League, what happened to the rest of the team members? There are 11 players on this team. Can we stop this Mo Salah God of Thunder thing where we expect him to step up in the Champions League, step up in the Carabao Cup, step up in the FA Cup, step up in the league, step up for his family, step up for Liverpool as the whole community? He's not their mayor. Dude, he's doing his job, man. Look, if you have a player who has handed you the league, what happened to the other players handing you a Carabao Cup? What happened to the other players stepping up and handing you an FA Cup? What happened to the other players stepping up in the Champions League, knowing that you need to mark this guy out and doing something? We can't put this thing on Mo Salah. He, as an individual, he's broken every record that you can think about. As an individual, his career is phenomenal.
He didn't hand them the league though, did he?
No, I'm saying he scored 80% of their goals this season in the league. Take him away from that team. Listen, Ahmed, let's not do this. Let's not do revision.
Jamie, this is your first Rivals Rumble, so it's fine.
We're not going to do revisionism. We're not going to
just let us sit
here. We're not going to sit here, and I'm not a Liverpool fan, but I would not allow people to just sit down and look at someone's career and what they've done this season. Take away Mo Salah from Liverpool, and Liverpool is not winning the league. Take him out of that team.
That's hypothetical. It's not
how have you go look at the stats? This guy has contributed goals and assists. 75 to 80%.
No, that's not hypothetical, man. That's definitely
no. He's talking hypothetical. If he wasn't in the team,
I'm saying, listen. Look, think about this season so far. What he has done this season. Take all that away from Liverpool. What position do you think Liverpool will be at right now in the league?
Seventh.
They would be in the top 4.
So let's stop this nonsense.
There's a stat, there's a stat that I think I saw something like, I think it was Diaz, Jota, and I think it was Nunes have like 4 goals between them.
4 goals between them.
In like certain amount.
In the last 11 games, something 41 games.
41 games.
That is like that's ridiculous, bro. Like, are you telling me they're going to league with that?
The thing is, you're talking about the other attackers that aren't doing their job, but you're pinning this whole thing on Salah as if Gravenberch hasn't been quality this season, as if Slot's not improved.
I'm not saying, but Gravenberch is not just. Listen, Gravenberch is not just Van Dijk. At the end of the day,
what I'm trying to say, in terms of winning a league title, you're banging on about like he's done a Van Persie for United. He's not done that. He's got Van Dijk next to him, who's had a quality season, and he's also had. But Van
Dijk and Gravenberch are a bit more on the defensive side, right? They're making sure everything's beautiful. But listen. Defense, yes, wins you championship.
No, but
you also need goals to win you stuff.
But you guys
when your attackers aren't doing that, then Salah,
you guys are
going to do that.
Yeah, but the thing is, scoring goals isn't what's going to win you a Premier League. It's about the whole team. So you guys are talking about mainly.
That's what we're saying.
If you don't score, you don't win a game.
That's what we're saying. Mo's question was simple. Mo said because people are discussing that Salah did not step up in the Champions League, for example, even though he has stepped up for Liverpool in the league.
He didn't.
No, hold on. Let me just land, please. They're saying he did not step up in the Champions League, and I said, okay, I hear you. As amazing as he has been this season, teams are going to try to mark him out. What happened to the other attackers actually putting the ball in the back of the net so Liverpool can win games while Van Dijk does his job, Gravenberch does his job, and Mo Salah has like
Elliott actually scored the winner in the first leg.
So my question is,
so that's without Salah.
Elliott, listen again, Elliott. That's one game out of 30-something games that have been played this season, or 40-something games.
But you're talking about where were the other attackers?
I'm saying in general. If you look at Diaz, Nunes, Nunes, and Jota in the last 41 games combined together, all 3 of them have 3 goals. That's their forward line. They have 3 goals. Barring Gakpo, who was also balling out until he got injured, nobody else was stepping up. So the point is, if Salah has stepped up in the league with everything that he has done this season, all the records that he has broken, the levels that he has taken them to, in other tournaments, other people need to step up. You can't sit here and say, oh, well, because he didn't step up in the Champions League. Like really.
But you know what the issue is though, isn't it, Dayo? The issue is, I get what you're doing. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, if we were not in YouTube and if we were sensible people, we would accept your explanation. But unfortunately, we're in YouTube and we're rivalries and we're unsensible. The thing is, when somebody's being praised, like how Salah was being praised, like, look, he's done so well. He's probably one of the best wingers I've ever seen in the Prem. Even though people twerk for Hazard, I get Hazard was just good, but come on, the output for Salah is out of this world. But the thing is, They were telling us that Salah is going to win the Ballon d'Or. That's what it is. So I'm coming from that angle. I'm coming from the angle where they were busy flossing this man. Then they told us that, oh, this guy, he's so good, better than so and so. So they were mentioning people who've actually done stuff in these tournaments. So when you put somebody on that pedestal, which I say Salah deserves, and what he's done for in the league is incredible, people will still come after him and say, but this is the Ballon d'Or guy. You were telling us that he's going to do this and that.
Patrick, let's go by individual. Let's go by individual achievements and individual performance this season. If that is what they're going to judge the Ballon d'Or by, we all know that the Ballon d'Or is no longer judged by that. It's very political. They do whatever the heck they want to do there. We all know this as fans. We're not going to sit here and pretend like we don't know that. The point is, you mentioned 3 top players right now in the world that are banging at the top of their game. Mo Salah is one of them. Regardless of what you say, whether in the Champions League, his performances in the league, like this season, we can't sit here and just rewrite history because we want to banter.
I think the argument, that I think you can make is that definitely Salah's been the most informed player. He's produced the best in the Premier League. He's definitely won in the Premier League. There's no doubt about that. I think if you then talk about obviously his performances, obviously in maybe single-header games in cups and stuff like that, obviously in the Carabao Cup final in particular, and then obviously the 2 legs against PSG
where he stunk it.
How can you be cold? How can you be cold?
I think you can criticize him. I think it's fair to criticize him. Yes.
No, but what I'm trying to say, how can you call a player he's been consistently solid when half of his performances have been covered up by a goal? How is that consistent?
Oh, that's a good one though. That's another one. He's been dropping stinkers by scoring.
How can you call a player consistent?
He's been doing a Bruno. Is that what you're trying to say?
Hold on, Ahmed. What is the essence? What is the essence of playing football? Is to put the ball in the back of the net.
Not really.
Hold on. The basic bottom line, right, is to get that ball in the back of the net so your team wins. That's number 1. Number 2, if you say that his performances are not rated, but his goal scoring, his goal scoring is consistent. Now you can look like Saka, for example, in Arsenal. I'm not expecting dribbles and flicks or anything. I'm expecting consistency. I know what I get from the boy. He's never going to be a dribbler. Yeah, he's never going to be a dribbler. He's never going to be the guy that's going to give me flicks, but he's going to give me a consistent performance. Mo Salah will consistently give you goals. He may not be that guy that you might think would explode from the midfield and dribble 5 or 6, 7, 8 guys. He may not be that guy that is going to do a leg over like Cristiano Ronaldo and look pretty.
So where were the goals against Newcastle? Where were the goals against PSG?
So if you want to pick out 2 sets of games, PSG, Newcastle, hold on, because he didn't score in about a handful of games, but you want to ignore the 30-something odd games where he scored. Liverpool was top of the Champions League table. Remember this. Mo Salah was a major contributing factor.
Scoring 2 penalties in a league.
So let's not do that.
Hold on. Scoring 2 penalties in a Premier League team against the likes of flipping Ipswich, and then coming across a PSG team and then stinking it out for 2 legs. But we can't criticize Salah like he's done his job. So basically what you're saying here is that he can have all these...
I'm not saying we can't criticize Salah. I'm saying Salah has been consistent all season. All of a sudden, people are marking him out. He's not turning up. What happened to the rest of the team? I don't hear you holding the same smoke for the rest of the team. But when Salah was consistent in 20-something odd games back to back, I didn't hear you say, oh, well, and this is the same problem rival fans have when we talk about football. Let's talk football. We can banter if we need to banter. You can't banter Mo Salah this season. There's no bantering Mo Salah.
Who's bantering him? Who's bantering him? No one's bantering him.
You're mentioning Newcastle and Ipswich game. Mention 15 games back to back. Mention 15 games back to back when Mo Salah has stonked it out. You give me, if he's been that bad this season, according to you, he's stonked it out this season. He's so terrible. Give me 15 games back to back.
Let's hear from Jamie. Jamie, what are your thoughts? Do you think we're just being salty?
No, both things can be true. He was poor in the game against PSG and the game against Newcastle. Across the entire season, he has been unbelievable. And the reason why Liverpool, and to go back to Mo's question was, does he deserve a 3-year contract at, say, X amount? He might. I don't think he's going to get a 3-year contract because of the way FSG operate. But his performances this season, and I said it when I was on last week with Mo, like even if he was to drop by 50% and he went next season to get 30 goal contributions, he's still worth 250k a week. Do you know what I mean? So he probably would deserve a contract in that instance. But as I know, he's about saying opposite side of the things, but Salah, he was poor in the games when it did matter. But the reason Liverpool are in the position now where there's 12 points clear with 9 games to go in the Premier League, which is very rare considering the competitiveness of the Premier League, is because of Salah. He has been the difference. Last year, Liverpool were only 6 points worse off from where they are now. And the reason they're still at that level now this season is because of Salah. And I think he does deserve a contract, but maybe not of what he wants, which is probably around 350, 400 grand a week. I don't think he's worth that considering his age. And I think he will dip in performances. I think this is going to be his best ever season.
But that's the whole point.
Yeah.
350k. If you're going to re-sign a winger of 350k on the right side, number one, you will not be able to get someone of a very good winger to rotate with him because he has to play every game. So if he drops, if his level is drop and he doesn't get you the same GA, you're really committed to someone for 350k for 3 more years. That means
I wouldn't give him 3 years.
The replacement, but that's the whole point. A lot of people are saying give Salah what he wants. He has scored this amount of goals. He is that guy. He will carry us next season, the season after. Well, that's
football. As fans, we live in the now. As fans, we live in the now. We're like, he's unbelievable right now. He deserves the contract right now. We're like, we don't like to think a year in advance, or 2 years in advance, 3 years in advance, which is what obviously FSG are paid to do. So they have to look at it and say, okay, is he going to be worth that in 3 years? Is he going to be continuing to put in performances like that in 3 years? Probably not. So maybe he only deserves 250 grand a week on a 2-year contract, which is what I think we're in the situation we are in now, where there's a stalemate between what Salah wants and what Liverpool want to offer. And that's why he doesn't have a contract as things stand. But I think it will get resolved.
Mo, another thing that you can look at is even if he drops 50% status of what he is this season, next season, if he plays the way he does 50% next season, I mean, already he's at 40-something GA right now this season. 44. Even if he does 22 GA next season and you're giving him a 200 or 300k salary, you can strengthen in other places for those players to cover up the rest of those goals. You literally can bring in other players on the left, somebody down the middle that can also contribute.
Yeah, but that contract will hinder you. That contract will hinder you.
But a single Mo Salah contract, right, for 300,000, you're not signing him from another club for 100 million. You're only talking about his salary. This is not, you're not bringing in a fresh player. You're not paying the club a down payment of 90 million or anything. He's in Liverpool already. You're just increasing his salary, which you're already paying him 200 and something anyways. You're adding an extra 100,000. Even if you do that for the next 2 years, 100,000 for 12 months is 1 point something million, right? 100,000 extra, every week. That's 400 a month. If you do 400 by a year, 4.8 million. 4.8 million times 3 years is 12.8 million. 12.8 million doesn't hinder Liverpool from signing another left winger. And
but there is the wage structure and everything. That is the problem.
That, but he's asking Ahmed, sorry. He's asking for 15 million extra for the next 3 years. Even if you do 2 years, that's 12 million. Even if you do 1 year, that's maybe 6 or 7 million extra. That doesn't stop Liverpool from getting rid of Nunez, getting rid of the guys who are not contributing right now, and bringing people that can contribute. Because if Mo Salah gives you 22 GA next season, plus 2 additional good strikers that can give you maybe 20, that is 60 across your top 3, minus your midfield. The math is mathing here.
I just want to just say, at the end of the day, if you don't think, I think 3 years, obviously, so it's very hard, particularly if, like, the way he's playing to age. Sometimes, bro, they just fall off a cliff just after 1 year.
Yeah. 100%.
Right. So for me, listen, the best deal possible from my little perspective is you want to at least still make some money off of the player when if the transfer ever happens for him. 1+1, I think for me is just the best solution. Even if you do something like you give him like a 2-year deal, but there's an option for a third if you're consistent or something like that. I don't think that's much of a problem either, to be honest. But it has to be either 1+1 or like a 2+1 or something like that, just to make something happen at the end of the day. But I think
also you're right, Ahmed. I just saw something in the comment which I think makes a lot of sense. A guaranteed bonus is something that could work for Mo Salah. Increase his salary a bit and say
Mohamed Salah is not going to do that.
When I mean guaranteed,
why is he not going to do that? Why is he not going to do that?
What I'm saying,
Mohamed Salah, this is the last big contract he's going to get.
Mo.
No. You're giving
guys.
Let me explain.
One
All
second,
you
let
heard
me.
was guaranteed bonus. You didn't even hear how
No,
I.
no.
what
Mate,
I
you
wanted
of course
to say.
you increase his you increase obviously his
You increase
his
the salary. You increase his wages, right?
I'm
He
on
gets
my
the
channel. I
wages.
can't even voice my opinion, but it's fine.
No, but because you didn't let me
because it's
finish.
not a good opinion. That's why
I
man.
It's not a
mentioned
good because it's not a good opinion.
That's it, man. I
no,
understand.
because
Yeah,
somebody
but
mentioned something. You didn't let me finish, and you wanted to explain it away. What I simply said was a guaranteed, but I saw it in the comments and I thought makes sense. Increase his salary. If he's at 250 right now, tell him, hey, we'll put you at 275 or 290, whatever the case is. That extra that you wanted up until 350 will be added as a guaranteed bonus if you can do a 25 plus GA. And I think he's up for that. I think Mo Salah will be up for that as a big, why won't you do it? You're at 290. If you give them 20 plus GA next season, you get your extra to your 350 and you're still balling out, and Saudi can still come for you. You are still going to make money regardless.
Saudi are started going for younger players though.
Yeah, but they'll still come for him.
Yeah, but the problem is like Salah's he's like a Middle Eastern superstar, bro.
Yeah,
they gotta want him guaranteed, bro.
The issue I think Salah might have as well. I know this is kind of weird to say, but I don't know if like any big club is going to be like, right, we're going to pay that 350 grand a week as well for like a 33, 34-year-old. So he's in a position where like if he doesn't stay at Liverpool, who's going to pay his wages and take him on that as well? Do you know what I mean? And even then, he's moving to a new country, a new team that might not fit his style. Like in Liverpool, he has everything set up where it all goes through him. He is the main man, and we play to his strengths. Like if you look at Liverpool's like kind of the way they play, I think the Athletic did a piece on it, and all of the balls where Liverpool's most attacking threats come down the right hand side with Trent as well. So I think from his perspective, he's probably thinking, I do want to stay at Liverpool, but I want to make sure that my value is seen. Because I don't think if it was down to money, which we're obviously talking about now, he would go to Saudi. Do you know what I mean? He would be the biggest superstar of the Saudi league, and he would get the money that he might want. But I don't think it's about that for him.
He's on 350 right now. I've just checked. He's on 350 right now on two different
Yeah, we all know that. Yeah.
And what's the rumor that he wants? He wants over 400.
No, he wants 350.
But he's on
350. 400.
He wants 400. So
okay, the rumor is Salah wants 350 for 3 years, guaranteed. That's what he wants.
Nah, no.
To be honest, we're all speculating.
Wait, is this the same Liverpool that never gives money to gives contracts?
Patrick, here's the thing. He's on 350 right now. His contract is meant to expire. He's asking for a renewal and a guaranteed 350 to stay there. He's saying to them, I don't want to renegotiate, and then you guys will tell me you're paying me because of my age. You're going to pay me 200 or something. So the point is, no, but here's the point though. You're already paying him 350. If you're going to renew his contract, why do you want to negate and go down? Nobody will agree to that. That is unfair.
Yeah, you're getting older, bro. You're getting older.
Listen. It's not about age. It's about delivery.
It is about age also.
Kevin De Bruyne.
I don't think it's about money, though. I think it's about value. He wants to feel like he's valued. You know what I mean? It's not about, if he goes in there like, right, we're going to give you 250 grand a week. You're on 350 grand a week now. He's just like, yeah, well, you're just trying to like push me out the door, but keep me a little bit. Do you know what I mean? But I'd say he maybe is asking, right, I want to stay on what I'm on because I know the value that I bring to the team. But Liverpool are like pushing back against that.
I get your point. Guys, before we go on, guys, got about 400 people in the house. Can we get to 200 likes live, guys? Big up my man, English talent. Of course, he is saying same reason I don't rate. What is this?
Ronaldo. Let's just talk about Ronaldo, CR7.
CR Kelly.
Yeah.
United won leagues after he left. Real won Champions Leagues and leagues after he left. But there would be Real without Cristiano Ronaldo. But where would Real be without Cristiano Ronaldo? I get his point, to be honest. And I actually want to discuss something. Guys, can we get to hit that like button, people? I don't want to keep reminding you to hit that like button. Thank you so much, English talent, for the super chat. Really appreciate you. Where would Liverpool be if they let Mohamed Salah go next season?
In a bad position. I think this summer for Liverpool is very dangerous because you're at a point now where obviously last season we were able to bring in last season we're obviously with Klopp leaving and we were able to bring in Slot and we didn't bring in anyone of significance. But Van Dijk goes, Trent, as you said at the start, Mo, is looking like he's 100% gone to Madrid, which we thought for a while, and then Salah if he leaves. There's talk of Nunes, Jota, Diaz is potentially being looked at sold as well. You're going to need to buy a centre-back, possibly, 3 new forwards that you don't know how they're going to fit into the team. Kelleher is meant to be moving on as well. So I know we're obviously getting Marmadashvili as well. But it's a lot of change that could disrupt the team. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think this Liverpool team that we have now is going to be a team that goes and dominates like a league moving forward. But they're in a period of transition, so yeah, if they lose Salah and the rest of the players that are there, it's going to be a dangerous position for Liverpool next season.
I would say them keeping Van Dijk is a lot more important than them keeping Salah.
Why?
Yeah, I'd rather keep Van Dijk
Because
in terms of importance.
Because the thing is, you might not get a like-for-like replacement for Salah in terms of the exact output he's getting, but you can get a quality player who might get you half his GA and it'll be spread out to another striker. Let's say they get someone for like, I don't know. Let's just pretend they get, I don't know, any striker, Wissa or Matoma, anyone, and it's spread out like that. They'll be fine. Replacing Van Dijk is a lot harder than replacing Salah because Van Dijk's quality is he's arguably the best centre back right now. So who can you get in that replacement? Do you get me?
Jamie, in what world?
He makes other centre backs better as well.
Do we
Every
go a little bit of
plus in the market, centre backs are like
centre backs are a lot. Exactly.
The hardest to replace right now.
Exactly, and Bastoni is never going to leave Inter either. Bastoni will, Italian centre backs.
Can I tell you guys something? Bastoni is not replacing Van Dijk. Even if Liverpool buy Bastoni and play him in a back four, he won't be what they think.
Yeah, he's not. He cooks in a back three.
He's not. He's a left centre back that goes. The only one that can replace Van Dijk, and I'm telling you guys, if Liverpool go on and sign Gabriel and Rudiger, or they go and sign Gabriel and Saliba together, that is how you replace Van Dijk. If you get Gabriel by himself, they're not for sale though.
Can I say something, right? At the beginning of the season, right? When Slot came in, I heard everybody, myself inclusive, saying Liverpool just being and around there, they'll be there. Like, at what point do we give kudos to Arne Slot and say a manager comes in and gets a whole bunch of players he's never worked with, regardless of how much quality we can say is in that team? Is it Salah or no, hold on. I'm saying Slot, Arne Slot's the manager. At what point do we give him kudos to say, even if they rebuild this season, in this summer, he can still do a madness next season because he's shown that he can come in.
So why is everyone shaking if Salah leaves then? Why is everyone...
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying at what point...
surviving Salah, man.
Mo, we're having a conversation about Salah leaving, Van Dijk leaving. Well, we keep talking about the players. I'm saying at what point do we sit down and say, you know what? Let's look at Arne Slot and look at what he's done so far. With players that have never worked with, right?
I'm saying that they're winning the sleep because of Salah. Now we're saying it's Slot. Like,
I'm saying at what point, Ahmed, this is why English is for you to listen and understand. I said at what point, again, it's very simple. We've talked about the players. I said at what point do we then turn around and say, even if, let's assume, in a world where Salah leaves, VVD leaves, Trent leaves, in a world where all these players leave, if that happens this summer and Liverpool is forced because they've left to actually rebuild, at what point do we still give that confidence level to Slot to say, well, we've seen him do it in his first season with players he didn't know. There's nothing stopping him from getting new players, finding a way to blend them, and let's see what he does next season. At what point does that conversation come into play? Because I think that there's just a lot of fear about these players leaving.
Listen, Liverpool have sold quality players and they've been fine. Liverpool have sold quality players and they've been fine. Coutinho left.
By the way, they haven't. It's only Coutinho, and they basically had a team that
we sold Suarez as well, and
Mane as well. Suarez, Mane.
And you won the league when you sold Suarez, or you got Ricky Lambert, and you remember Borini, do you remember Balotelli? That was fantastic. Yeah, it's great.
There were periods of bad in that.
But Mane is an amazing player that Liverpool sold, and they were fine. Mane was an amazing player for Liverpool,
bro.
So that's my point. I'm saying Liverpool can
be replaceable. Let's just say it like he's not as irreplaceable as everyone says. Like cool.
Because what it is for me is I last season was saying that Liverpool will just be in and around their new manager. They're going to struggle. They might have a new manager bounce, and then after that they'll fall off. If they have a couple of I said all kinds of things in my head. I looked at it. I looked at stats. I looked at data, and then I never looked at Arne Slot. It was later halfway through the season I went back and looked at this man's record. And I went to look.
I'm not following then. So I am not following then.
No. So what I'm saying is,
to keep Salah or
no.
Allow Arne Slot to question.
What I said is, in a world where Mo Salah leaves, Van Dijk leaves, and Trent leaves, we can actually still look at this season and say, well, it was because of Arne Slot that they played the way they played, and that he got the best out of them this season the way they've played. which means if Arne Slot has a good summer, there's nothing stopping Arne Slot from being able to do a madness again next season, because we've seen that he's a manager that knows how to bring out the best in players.
So if they win this, when they win this league title, it's down to his adaptability and quality man management. Then you agree with
I think that's part of it. I think it all works. He also has quality players. So
it's
if
a lot of
things,
it's not just one thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, you need good players. You need a good centre back. You need a good goalkeeper. You need a goal scorer. You need a good manager. You need all those things. But like, that's just dependent on how you feel about the league. Do you know what I mean? Like, Man United won a league with 80 points and 5 games left to play. Do you know what I mean? Like, just the leagues are dependent on what you think is the quality of the team that year. But I think the middle of the league this season has been a lot tougher, and that's why a lot of teams in and around it are so close together. Obviously, there's one standout which makes it look worse, but all the teams in and around each other are closer together. There's just not a star quality team, even though Liverpool are doing really well. But I think on what you're saying there about Slot, I think last season what we're talking about with Salah is we don't know what life is without Salah. It's the same thing last year when we were all writing off Liverpool saying getting top 4 was going to be unbelievable. We don't know what life is going to be without Klopp. But then it comes around, Slot comes in, doesn't sign any players other than Keita, and we go on.
Than Jurgen Klopp already.
Yeah, give it a rest. Give it a few years, then we'll decide that. But like, he comes in, he obviously knows what he wants in terms of his playing style, the players, and he gets out what he has done this season. He's going to go on and win a Premier League. If Salah leaves, obviously it'll be very hard to picture us without him. But a player comes in, the team adapts, and you move on. That's just the way football goes.
I think it's time for him to leave. Yeah,
But
I didn't say that.
Oh no, I'm just saying they're gonna end up in a. Liverpool ended up in a situation like this before when Henderson and Milner were still in the team, and we were all laughing at them. Even ourselves, look where we've ended up. As I told you, you heard me multiple times. I warned people about Walker. I warned people about depending on Walker, KDB, people who are going towards an older age. Are saying these guys, we can't continue depending on them. We're going to have another guy who can create this team and not always rely and depend on KDB to save us at the end of the season or Walker to save us against Vinicius. Find somebody young. I just think, like, when people start hitting 33, I know it's more Salah and even Van Dijk himself. There's going to have to be time. You're going to have to start looking for a younger centre back carrying, and you're going to have to look for Salah. And if it's even now where you're going to hit the blow, wouldn't you rather do it now than start waiting when these guys are older and Van Dijk can't run anymore and Van Dijk can't move there as good as he is anymore? Because the funny thing about the Premier League is somebody can be a baller this season, and when something just, I don't know, because the Premier League is too intense, it just turns like that. You find next season everything is gone. And you're like, what's happening? And Salah, you find he's on a 3-year contract. What are you going to do? You can't sell him. And the funny thing is, even Salah right now, where you guys are not offering a contract, I haven't heard any of the big teams going after him or whispering in his ear at all. Nobody's whispering. There's no rumors. I know that rumors are rumors, but at least Van Dijk, I've started hearing rumors. Trent, even some teams are willing to take him. So
Patrick,
I don't know. Yeah,
Patrick, what if Mo Salah ages like fine wine? We're looking at Modric. Modric is getting another 1-year extension. He's going to be 40. He's still balling out.
He's part of the furniture.
I know you can call him whatever. My point is, there's players who can be, we know the norm. The norm is when you get to your 30s as a footballer, there's always a downturn. But we have the exceptions. What if Salah is an exception? What if Salah is able to play till 35, 36, 37? Ronaldo is still playing in Saudi. He may not.
You think it's all overreaction? So you think it's all overreaction because of the last 2 games?
Yes,
yeah,
I think that.
You guys know the amount of reels and the amount of videos that have been done on Salah because of these 2 games, 3 games. The amount of reels and TikTokers and YouTubers that have done, including myself, that have done streams talking about Mohamed Salah and
someone here called him the Egyptian thousand. So you know what I mean? It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Can I just do a couple? Let me do it. Nafisa, big up Nafisa. Wallahi, good to see you back. You're an Arsenal fan and you're here just because I put a positive Arsenal title. Finally, a positive title about Arsenal in that description. Big up Patrick, happy to see you here. Big up Nafisa. Thank you so much. Hit that like button, people, and subscribe. We're almost at 200 likes. Like the video, people. We cannot have a live stream less than 250 likes. The like button looks like thumbs up underneath the live chat. Is Mohamed Salah like? I'm not just, to be honest with you, after the Newcastle game, I said it. You put me on that pedestal, bro. If I'm Mohamed Salah, I need to do something out of the box. He looked out of the game completely in that
He got
Newcastle
locked
game.
up, man.
Has
He-
he
he-
looked again?
Damn,
Do you think
Mo,
do you think
I
he
don't
was
know how
fast
much
and
I like
had
Mohamed. Guys, people
I have
don't
a
know how
question,
much I
Mo.
like Mohamed Salah. But Dayo, can I let Ahmed speak and then you can ask me the question?
Okay,
Keep the
go on.
question.
Oh, wait.
But what I'm trying to say is that when Salah was scoring all the goals, when he was scoring all the goals in the season, everyone was putting you can see the comparison. Best Premier League winger, Ballon d'Or. They were putting him in a high pedestal, better than Hazard, better than he's done better Premier League legacy than I don't know.
They
Other
advised, they even
Yeah,
he
he is-
advised
he
legacy.
is
It
better
was
than
like a
Hazard.
legacy.
I mean, he's okay. That's a listen. We'll be here for 5 years after this conversation, innit? But what I'm trying to say to you is, you can't have it both ways. You can't gas up a player to that level of extent, and then God forbid we judge him on that same level when there's 2 decisive games. You should be actually doing something out of nothing, because that's what those players did, and then start crying about it about when we start judging Salah like that. You can't have it both ways. What's that saying? You can't have your cake and eat it twice or something. I don't know what that saying is. But that's what I'm trying to say. Like, simple. Like,
Can't have your cake and eat it.
So hold on. So Eden Hazard has had 1 Champions League goal. He didn't perform in the Champions League. Should we turn around and say Eden Hazard is a crap player? In fact, Theo Walcott has more Champions League goals than Eden Hazard. Is Theo Walcott better than Eden Hazard? What are we talking about here? Because Mo Salah did not step up against PSG, suddenly you want to erase this man's legacy over 3 games.
who's talking about his
People
legacy?
are delusional.
Who's talking about his legacy? Who's talking about his
Actually,
legacy?
Like, okay, so hold on. Do you think that he hasn't performed well enough in the last 2-3
I-
seasons to be considered for a Ballon d'Or? All
He's
of a
not
sudden,
Ballon d'Or
because of
now.
Newcastle,
He's never
because
gonna
of
be that.
Newcastle
No.
game and the
No.
PSG game,
I
suddenly,
don't even need to defend myself.
yeah,
there.
man,
Love it.
come on, man.
No, he's not Ballon d'Or level.
Eden Hazard that all of you keep mentioning did not perform in the Champions League too.
Bro.
He scored 1 goal.
Yeah, but listen,
You know,
let's not do
hold
this.
on,
Yeah,
hold
let's
on.
not do
Let's
this.
do it.
How is that?
Let's not do
We're
this.
talking about
What-
the PSG game, which
what
is the
is
Champions League game.
what-
Why can't we talk about
Hold
Eden
on,
Hazard
guys,
just
hold
scoring
on.
1
No.
goal in the Champions League?
Eden, the difference
Why can't we
between
do that?
the difference between Eden and Hazard. Eden Hazard was having to both create and score at the same time, and then he had bombs essentially around him.
Exactly. Salah has created and scored 27
But
goals.
I would argue, and
Salah
I would,
Nunes.
I would
Salah
probably
Nunes.
make the
Salah
argument. I'll probably
Salah
make the
Nunes.
argument that, at least in my opinion, that what was it called? Salah probably has a bit more higher quality in terms of guys that he has around him compared to Hazard as well. So I
That
think-
the Ballon d'Or belongs to generational players. It belongs to that level,
Nah.
those type of
Who-
level. Not
who was in
not
that-
players like. Not,
Who was in that
sorry.
Chelsea team when you won the league when Hazard won player of the season? Was it not Fabregas, Diego
Kante,
Costa,
Kovacic, Diego
Kante?
Costa, William,
That midfield
Pedro.
is better than Liverpool's. Like was Thiago Silva there? At that
No,
time?
no, but he's talking about the Champions League fixture. I know he's talking about which year he's talking about specifically. That year
Can I tell you guys
specifically that we won
something?
it. Our
People
team was
say Salah
severely
has not
worse.
stepped
Yeah,
up
but
in
my
big
point is you
games.
can't criticize Salah
Aye.
about Champions League and you don't want us to criticize the person you're comparing him to, which is Eden Hazard, about his own
Guys,
Champions League.
guys,
Period.
Stop,
That's my
stop
thing.
this. I'm gonna say
Yeah, but
something.
Eden Hazard's still clear.
Salah stepped up a lot of times in the Champions League. The Roma 2 games that he played, he had a
Liverpool have been in 3
fantastic
finals.
Bro,
3 finals.
Mohamed Salah, in my opinion, Mohamed Salah is the ultimate reason Liverpool reached the 3 finals. The first one, single-handedly, that season, he broke the record in the Premier League. He was playing out of this world to come into the Premier League and break that record. And for the people that say Mohamed Salah does not turn up, he's the highest African player to score in the Champions League. How is that about big games? That is
Congratulations. He scored a lot in the you know what I mean, the little
Champions League only, Habibi. That we're talking
No.
Champions League.
That's what I'm saying.
are
The
not
group stages goals.
about
Connections
you.
with the group.
What
Nah,
that's
group goals,
But
man.
that's the same with
You
the
know what I
person
mean?
you're comparing him with. That's the
Six,
same with
man.
Stages.
But that's the
Group
same with the person
stages.
you're comparing him with. Eden
Maybe
Hazard has not
finally the
scored any
Champions
big
League.
game in the
Listen,
Champions League.
again,
Ahmed, semi-final of UEFA Champions League. 2 goals, 2 assists in 1 game, broski. 1 game.
Listen,
And
all
then
I'm
you
gonna
people
say.
Against his former team.
Again, let me ask you something. Against Chelsea, he actually decided 3 games by himself against Chelsea. Against Man City, he decided about 4 games by himself against
Yes.
Man City. By himself, by the way, against Man City. Spurs, how many? I remember the games against Spurs, the game that he dribbled everyone on the line to score a goal, to give Liverpool the lead, and then Spurs, and then the referee bottled it with Harry Kane was offside. How many games against Arsenal he decided? How many games against my man schooled Man United? And we're talking
Yes.
about big games. These are big games. Big games are not only against PSG in the Champions League. Big games are only also against Arsenal against
So,
City.
more. Let me ask you a question. So you're saying they should give him that 2-year, 3-year contract?
In my opinion, a 3-year contract for a player that is 33, a forward is too much.
Yeah.
For a defender, yes. For a forward is too much. The reason why, which forward in the Premier League has performed to that level at the age of 35? I need a name in the history of the sport.
What Ronaldo when he went back got what 80? Was it 18 goals when he went back to United?
Have you seen Ronaldo when he went to back to Man United? He wasn't even fantastic. Like
I know, but that's
Ronaldo.
That's the type of player
Ronaldo
that Salah
when he came
will
back
be.
to Man
He'll just be
United
a goal hog.
But he gave them 18 goals in that season.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
goal
we're saying.
Ronaldo came in a shocking team. I'm pretty sure that was under Oli as well. Yeah,
No,
and
I think
Oli
that team was all right.
Ibrahimovic as well when he came to Man United when he was 34. Ibrahimovic, that's another one.
The problem is, I have to move on from this conversation. The notion that new thing is that Mohamed Salah is not a big game player. It's false.
He's 76 goals. 76 goal contributions in 81 games against the Big Six. So
that's big. That's all big games. 72
all big games.
goal contributions
against the top six.
And people talk about no, he's not a big game player. What is this?
Yeah, but
Kevin De Bruyne has Kevin De Bruyne ever scored? Like has Kevin De Bruyne carried Man City in a final? No, we're not gonna sit here and be disingenuous and say Kevin De Bruyne is not a big game player. How many games we've seen Kevin De Bruyne drag Man City in the league when team needed him? We've seen Salah the same as Salah.
Maybe that's why both of them don't have a Ballon d'Or. So
Bro, Origi is a bigger game player than Salah, bro. Come on.
Shut up.
That's raised.
Again, you know what the funny thing is? By Ahmed's definition, a big game is only a final of a cup.
Yeah.
That is just a shallow way to define what a big game is. That is a very shallow way to define what a big game is. Because all you're saying is
Mane is a bigger game player than him, bro. Guy back the goal.
What's this Tottenham guy's name that they brought in? They subbed in when they got to the final. That came in and scored.
Mane has been a bigger player.
Lucas.
Yeah, Lucas. It's like me saying Lucas is a big game player because he did that one time. The consistency of Salah against big teams in his career.
You guys are talking about solely big teams, but I remember when Origi scored that goal against Everton, where it was a big decider for Klopp. Yeah, remember when Pickford fumbled it? Remember that?
How many times has Salah
decided? How many times have Origi done that?
One game. It doesn't mean the Salah did not.
You remember Origi because it's so rare. Salah does it so often. You can't even remember all the goals.
You guys are talking about big teams
Origi has done it how many times? Can you mention 5 times Origi has done it? He's such a big game player. You must have at least 5 games.
Semi-final and final, no?
No, you must have at least 5 games. He's such a big game player that he must have done it many times. I really want you to just name 5 right now, Ahmed. He's such a big game player.
We'll help you. Everton, Newcastle. Keep going.
All right, give me 3 more.
Barcelona as well.
Okay. We're moving on from this conversation. We're just going on to a different conversation.
2-year extension. That's what you give him.
Regarding, I want to go to the Arsenal talk that we have. There's a lot of people lately that have been saying that Arsenal are going to get cooked next year and all of this stuff. But looking at how Liverpool now are doing the business and how the youngsters of Arsenal, the likes of Lewis Kelly, Nwaneri, being offered a new contract. In my opinion, even though me and Dayo are saying that if he doesn't win the Champions League and people are Arsenal fans, if he doesn't win the Champions League, they want him out. But the facts are he's going to stay. Do we think Arsenal are going to get stronger and have a better chance of winning the league next season? Or it's going to be the same disappointment? I'm going to let Dayo speak first on this.
The only way we're going to do anything next season is if we strengthen in the places that we need to strengthen. For example,
but it looks like you are trying.
Yeah, no,
you are trying.
So I will give kudos to them for hiring a proper sporting director. That's the first thing I would say. Like, that shows that they really know what they want as regards to bringing a serious person that can do serious business. Now, will Bertha get serious business done? Fingers crossed. If he does, if we get a good striker, let me start by saying this season, Nwaneri and Lewis Kelly are what I'll call a surprise for us. Like, we didn't expect this from them. And that's a good thing that at least that reduces us going to look for players in that position. Nwaneri being able to cover for Saka now and also being able to cover for Odegaard in that role is a good player to have. Do we still need reinforcements there? I think we do. Up front, do we need reinforcements? Yes, I think we do. In the striking position, as you can see, we're playing with Mikel Merino. We're playing the left wing as our left wing, a left back as our left wing right now. So if we strengthen in the right places, I think bringing in a director that is a proper director that knows what he's doing, and if they give him the money like they did when we got Declan Rice, if they are willing to spend the money like that and really push for big time players, then I think we strengthen. I think you can only be stronger. You can't be weaker from that position. Now, if we don't go ahead and do any of those things, then we're weaker because we've seen it this season, losing Saka, losing Havertz, losing Martinelli for a few games, losing Odegaard for like 2 or 3 months. All of a sudden, everything's falling apart. Even in defense right now, losing Calafiori, we just lost him again for another 2-3 weeks from the international break. So we've seen that injuries can be a thing. It's not my thing is we just need to strengthen. If we go ahead and spend this summer in the right positions, I think you can only be stronger. You can only be stronger. You can't be weaker from that position. But if you don't spend, then
Arsenal this season their injuries have played a big part. Last season they were on 67 points after 29 games. And Liverpool this season are on 70. If they had Saka, if they had obviously Odegaard at the start of the season, they would be in a much better position. If they strengthen in areas where they're able to get players in to cover when players do get injured, or where they're able to rotate more, they'll definitely be in and around the mix next season. I don't think they'll be falling off or anything like that. They definitely do need to strengthen. They need a striker, someone that they can rely on for goals week after week, but they're definitely going to be in the mix next season.
Their striker is going to be Sesko. That's what it is, and that's going to be their striker. And
we don't know this with facts, so let's not just. You're not Nostradamus. You can't see the future. Let's talk real football. Their striker is like me saying your manager next season is going to be Southgate, because I think you're going to fire your manager.
Because that's what you guys want.
Because there's rumors, and there's always been rumors. There's been rumors of who we want, and we wanted Nico Williams.
But we know how Arsenal are in transfer.
We wanted Rafinha, we didn't get him. Yeah, we know how Arsenal are. We wanted Declan Rice for 105 million, and we eventually got him. We weren't supposed to get him. Arsenal is so crap that they're not supposed to get a Declan Rice for 105 million, because Arsenal is not that club, but they went ahead and did it. So my point is, you can't sit here and just be spouting out assurances of things that you do not have any facts to. The point is, we're talking about the team as a team. If Liverpool strengthens in places that they need to strengthen, they'll be in and around the mix. If Man U strengthens where they're supposed to strengthen, Man U will be in and around the mix. If Chelsea do the same, we can see City. The minute they saw that they had issues in January, they went and spent money. They brought in 3 solid players that by the time they gel with the team, they're going to be in and around the mix. That's what Arsenal needs to do. I don't care I just care that the players have to be quality. They have to be quality players that can actually raise the ceiling, and not just, let's just fill bodies in. Let's just get a striker because we want to get a striker, or let's get a midfielder just because we need one. No, we need to be able to get in people who at least we know that, give or take, even if like a player with quality. For example, what Saka had contributed to Arsenal at the beginning of the season before he got injured has helped sustain us to still retain the second position until now. He's got 10 goals and 6 assists, if I'm not mistaken, or 5 in about 16 games. And he still has the second highest.
You're talking about in the league?
I'm talking about the league with his injury, for Arsenal.
He's not got 10 goals in the league. That's a lie.
So I said he's got 16 GA in total, in about 15 GA in 16 games. Goals and assists. 10 assists, 5 goals, if I'm not mistaken. But in as much as that, he's created the second most big chances, even though he's been injured. So my thing is, like, when you have players like that who, because injuries are part of the game, if they play for your team and they can contribute their fair share of it, like if Mo Salah gets injured now or takes a break, Liverpool still win the league because he's done what he needs to do. He's contributed his fair share. So quality players like that is what we need to buy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure, bro. Like I said, when
do you think you're going to do that? I think the question for me: do you think you're going to have the amount of money that's required, the balance to get that stuff done? Because
you hire a sports director. You hire a sports director like Berta. It shows that you're being serious. You didn't go hire some guy who's inexperienced, some guy who doesn't know what he's doing. This is a guy that is one of the top-rated sporting directors in all of Europe, right? So the question again is, why would you bring in somebody like that if you're not going to give him a free hand to actually come and help you run your club the way you want it to be run? If you're going to try and hinder him, that guy is going to leave. There are bigger clubs that would come for him. Berta is that type of sporting director. So, yes, I think that showed me that they were serious. They didn't go and get Ashavin. Sorry, not Ashavin. What's his name? That played for Arsenal before. He's also a sporting director now somewhere. Like, they didn't do that whole, let's just go get somebody mid-level. They're like, you know what, we're going to go for the best of the best. Somebody in around the top 5 sporting directors. And when you bring someone like that in, you're showing signs of seriousness. Now, will they spend money? I can't tell the future, but I've seen them spend 105. I've seen them bid 70 or 80 for Caicedo, even though we didn't get him, which means that, it shows that they do have money to spend. This season, this summer, let's wait and see. With the director, Rosicky, that's the name of the guy, Thomas Rosicky. He's also a sporting director. He's played for us now. They didn't bring him in. They went for a more experienced, somebody who's good. So, I think that shows signs of seriousness. Any club that is serious will get serious people in to run it.
Yeah, but I also think I don't know. Just for me, this Arsenal team, I just feel like, because you must remember we've been through something like this. So have Liverpool, right? And the fact is, Liverpool and City managed to get over the line. Like you guys, this is the third time you're fighting for the title, and obviously this time you fell off, which was going to happen because for you to be starting getting injuries this season, it's normal because you were fighting with City to the end, isn't it? But I just feel like this was your opportunity, and I think even if you go next year with whatever you bring in next year, I think other people will now get better. Yeah, because you must look at it. Right? We are stinking as City, and I'm telling a lot of City fans to be careful because our stinking is bad, and it's due to the fact that we kept on holding on to players that are too old. But I just feel like even Newcastle, right? I feel like they are just a creative midfielder away because I look at that Newcastle team. Exactly. They're either a creative midfielder away, and also they need to get another keeper because obviously Nick Pop cannot stay fit. I just feel like Newcastle is just a creative midfielder away and a keeper away who's very sustainable, like who's always there for them to do something. I don't know if Dayo, you doubt that. It's just the fact that
I hear you. You said this was our season, and we had injuries, and of course we had injuries because
because of the intensity.
Because of the intensity of the last, and that speaks to how good City and Liverpool have been in the last few years. The fact that we had to chase them down that hard, still not be able to make it, and then when it was time for us to even be able to get an opportunity, players are worn out and getting injured. That's part of the game. Where I blame my club is you've chased down City first time, second time. You know that by the third time your players will be tired. This is where that summer you reinforce. So just in case you get injuries, you actually have players on the bench that can come off and actually still carry the club on until your number one players come back in. That's where I blame Arsenal for. So,
but if you look at the transfer market, like Arsenal stronger next season, you can actually apply that with every team. If you actually look, if you look at the sample size, and just look at every team. So in the market, if we're going to judge it on how proactive and how efficient they are, Arsenal aren't really great in the market. They overspend. Firstly, they overspend on players, and later towards the line, they start to misprofile players. If you look at Man City,
Ahmed, isn't that the reason why they brought this new guy? Maybe.
Yeah, but the thing is,
hold on. Say that again. We overspend. First, you said we don't spend. Arsenal don't like to spend money.
You do overspend. You overpay for players. Because you overpay for players that aren't that great, and then you misprofile them as well. And then secondly, they literally every single time I see Arsenal in the market, like Chelsea are more efficient.
70 million for Rasmus Højlund. Coming from you, we overpay.
Rasmus Højlund was under. By the way, Rasmus Højlund was under the old ownership anyway. So at the end of the day, if you look at Man United, if you look at Man City,
he was under the what?
It was under the old ownership when we got Højlund.
Yeah, we have a new sporting director as well, which means that the business might change. Yeah. So that answers your question. So whatever you want to say about how Arsenal used to run business before, that was before.
Yeah, but that's an if. You overpaid for Havertz, you overpaid for Rice.
Yeah, but that was that was again just like you gave yourself the context that Højlund was under your old regime, that was under Edu.
You're talking about a sporting director. I'm talking about a completely different ownership.
Again,
ours was completely different.
Again,
let me finish my point.
Your sporting director negotiates your deals, right? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes, he does. Good. Bro. So
the sporting director is the one. The sporting director is the one that scouts the players. There's a lot of you can have your own team. You can have your technical director, you can have your DOF, you can have so many other people. And obviously the manager, if he's got a veto, he can obviously accept and you're like, yeah, this is the player. Many people, you can have a load of teams. What I'm trying to say to you is that Arsenal, with the players that they've bought, none of them have been like, wow, they've got this player, they've beaten this team to it. Chelsea have spent a lot and wasted also a lot of money, but they'll get a player down and they'll get it patterned up regardless, quickly. Man City, you've seen it in the January transfer window. No matter how bad they are, and look, they've literally won a treble and they're still going to spend. You've got Man United as well, who are in the slumps currently, but we've had the window in terms of who we bought.
Yeah.
And you've
But,
got
you know-
Liverpool. You've got Liverpool as well, who have a lot of money and they're more attractive than Arsenal. So Arsenal are
What's your point? So what's your point? Because you
my
have
point is that you're not going to have a great transfer window.
I actually think there's like, listen, it's all well and good, but I think Arsenal having a transfer window. I think my question is more I think it's a bit more big one in terms of like the tactical stuff, right? You know, it's great. Let's say you do have like a good window, but if you're still playing tactically the same way that you are, which is I think a far cry from maybe a bit more of a better version that you were the previous season before, right? Is that really going to be successful? If that makes sense.
Yeah, but being tactical also requires the players to have the capacity to be able to do it. So if you bring in the right players, a manager tactically can then say, look, I've got a player that can do this. For example, Liverpool can play a high press because they trust Virgil van Dijk. If they didn't have Virgil van Dijk, they wouldn't play that style of football. Some managers will go in there and be like, you know what? Yeah, I see what Van Dijk can do. So that would also infer the type of tactics that you play with. So if Arsenal do spend, which again, you brought in a new sporting director who people rate, it's just a name. Until he does something, then I would say he's good or bad. Like right now, that's just a name. And based off his previous records, we can say, well, he's done some good and bad businesses, right? The point is, let's see what he does in the summer. If they bring in quality players, okay, let's give an example. It might not happen. And I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but let's just paint a picture, right? Arsenal decide we spent 105 on Declan, we're going to spend 130 on Isak. After spending 130 on Isak, we're going to trigger what's this boy's name? Nico Williams release clause for 60. So
then Zubamende comes in.
And that's 190. We're doing Zubamendi.
Dreamland. Then we're living in Disneyland.
No. That's what I'm saying. No. That's why I said let's paint a picture, right?
FIFA.
If you do that, right, the manager now has, because talking about Ahmed and the tactics, the manager can now look at these quality players and say, well, now I can change my tactics. Because Isak is fast, I can play a certain way. Zubamendi controls the ball, I can play this way. That's going to also infer how the manager, he's not, unless he's a stupid manager, then he'll say, this is my only style and all of you must fit into it. Then he's going to ruin those players. So, let's wait and see. Let's just wait and see what business we do in the summer. I mean, there's talks of all kinds of things. I don't say anything until I see the player in Arsenal jersey on the pitch. I don't even care if you're on the bench because they can sell you before the first game. Until you put your feet on the grass and kick a ball in my jersey, then I'm like, yeah, now you're an Arsenal player. That's how I.
Yeah, I think Arsenal's issue, Dayo, for me is those moments, even when you were fighting against City, those moments I was like, oh, if this guy is there, go to the January transfer window and do this. I think you understand. You agree with me. I was like, they're missing this. But if they go and pick up somebody to do this, let's say Odegaard is injured or Saka is injured, I think those are the other moments where I think you are let down. But to say in general that it's been bad, I don't think Arsenal has been that bad. I know you found what's his name, that guy? You had these other players you signed. Remember that? What are the names?
Lokonga and all these people.
That was a bad moment.
I'll say this again. I can put that to the fact that the management team at the time, again, that was what they went for with Arteta. It's all on all of them. The fact that they chose to not, reinforce in the January window where you were 2 points behind City and you could have reinforced and just try to push harder to actually just get over the line. That's on them, which is why I said I'm glad that there's a new guy who can build his own team and we'll see what he does. Based off of his previous records, we can look at what he's done in the past with other clubs and said, well, we see what he's done. He's done it. So, with Atletico, we've seen how the players he's brought, the kind of deals that he's done. If he's that kind of guy and he can bring in a good deal, hey, like if that guy was our marketing director, sporting director, last season, and he brought in the Julian Alvarez for Arsenal last season, just like he took him to Atletico, or he brought in.
I have a very fair argument here.
That's all.
I have a very fair argument, guys. Hit that like button. We know that Isak most likely will not leave Newcastle if they make Champions League. What if Arsenal don't go and get Isak, go and get Gyökeres, and go and get a left winger? Do we think that Arsenal team is equipped to win the league title? Will we say next season, if City go and get the war chest and sign players, if Liverpool renew Salah and new Van Dijk and get a new striker, will we sit here and say if Arsenal don't win next season, they're still a bottle job? Or are we going to say that other teams are stronger than them?
I mean, teams are going to be teams will be stronger. Teams will be stronger than you. But here's the thing again that you have to look at more. If 5 teams strengthen next season, then it now becomes a game of strategy. As an Arsenal club, you're supposed to say, listen, every Newcastle is strong, Chelsea is strong. This guy, some of them will cancel themselves out. Just make sure you're not the one getting cancelled out so that you can at least try to win. That's how you're going to win the league next season. If every other person becomes strong, they're going to play themselves too. There's going to be a point where City is going to have to play Newcastle, and clubs will play themselves. So you just make sure that in and around those games you're doing well, and then the smaller games get your points. So
the summer transfer window is basically, it's going to decide who's going to come out in the Premier League next season, because you're going to have teams looking to buy off each other. Like Arsenal, Liverpool, and City are all in for a big summer transfer window. So until we know what the players that they bring in, then we can obviously decide. But I think, as you said, it's Arsenal. Like, it doesn't matter who the opposite team is. You have to go out and put in the performances to go out and win a league. A league isn't meant to be easy to go and win. So Arsenal need to get the players that they need to get in, and then go and win against the best teams that are out competing against them.
I think the other thing is, I know from at least a Chelsea and maybe even a City perspective, we probably I think after the season ends, you've got 3-week break. And then
Ahmed, you go in and out your voice when you move.
Yeah.
Move your head.
And now I was just saying, obviously you've got the Club World Cup in 3 weeks after the season ends. So, our seasons start pretty much early, and then so our transfer windows are probably gonna be happening quite quickly over a 3-week period as well. So I'll probably say that.
Yeah, both City and Chelsea. Ahmed is right.
Yeah.
Both City and Chelsea are going to have to buy. I think this is the same thing I was telling people. Both City and Chelsea are going to have to start buying important players for even to embed them in the Club World Cup. Maybe we might have an advantage of embedding them there, or maybe it might be a disadvantage for us. That way, our players will be so tired.
Yeah, man, longest season as well. Yeah. So
don't you have 8 goalkeepers already and 962 players? What do you need to buy extra players for? Just send.
Leave him alone.
95% of them are kids.
They
you
do.
know what I mean? But, hey.
You guys have 8 goalkeepers, by the way, on your books. Yes or no? You have enough
again.
people
You're
for-
asking the wrong guy. I wouldn't know that, mate. Sorry.
You don't know that. On your website, there's 7 of them. Their pictures are all there.
Jesus, did you go to his website?
Oh no, you know me. I like data now. I do. I check data for everything. I don't.
Yeah,
I
but
don't-
am I wrong about Newcastle? Because I was telling City fans, because City fans were pointing at players at Newcastle or Liverpool this. I was like, dream on. Once they have tested that trophy, Newcastle owners right now are in the ears of most players that are easy to take away. You're not taking anybody out of that Newcastle team. And you're not, because I told people that, do you know a good time to take Tonali was the time when he got suspended. You would have started talking to him then, that when he gets cleared, you take him. But right now, you're not taking any of them. Because am I the only one who rates Tonali, by the way, before we go on?
Unbelievable. So good. So
Who?
good.
that Newcastle
Tonali.
midfield. That Newcastle midfield is Joel.
But they need a defensive. I think they need a creative, a very creative midfielder in there.
They don't. The way they play, this is the thing again, and this is something that we do as fans. We tend to look at our clubs or tend to look at certain clubs like, oh, this team needs it. Newcastle might not need a creative person. You see that force and power that they have in the midfield to overpower everybody. No matter how gifted you are, if Odegaard cannot get the ball, there's nothing Arsenal can do, and that's what Newcastle did to us. And then,
so what's missing in that team for them to be able to say these are the type of challenges?
I think what is missing is just consistency. This season it was consistency in their games. Newcastle had what it took this season to go toe to toe with every team. And again, if you look at injuries, if you look at their squad depth, they don't have that depth in the bench where they can actually say, okay, you know what, this person was out. Like when Liverpool was out for a few games, they didn't have someone to replace him properly. They had a 17-year-old come in at one time. You have to give them that context to say, hey, it was just the consistency. They do actually have what it takes to be at the top and compete. Newcastle literally are that midfield will bully any team. That midfield will bully any team.
I think Newcastle in a few years, what they're probably going to find themselves is they'll have to transition maybe slightly in terms of how they play football. I don't know if they're going to do that with Eddie Howe, say 2 or 3 years. But if they want to get to where they want to be in terms of winning Premier Leagues with the Saudis backing them, they'll probably need to change to a bit more of an attacking team. And if that is maybe getting a center attacking mid behind them, I think they probably need a right winger. I think Jacob Murphy's been good this season, but if that's somewhere they
definitely need a right winger,
Yeah, and then I think Botman is a bit hit and miss in terms of injuries as well. So they might look at a centre back because Schär picks them up and the Lascelles as well. So they might look at bringing in someone there. But yeah, I think Newcastle definitely, the consistency. And the one thing as well, there's a lot to be said about peaking at the right time in football. A lot of teams like Liverpool at the start of this season, they peaked so early and were so consistent for so long. And now we've seen them drop off a little bit. Man City and Pep Guardiola is literally They are the perfect team, and he has perfected his team at peaking at the right time. He comes into run-ins. He's slow at starting at the start of the season. He might lose 1 or 2 games, and then going into the run-in, you just know every time you go into the game that they're gonna 99% chance is they're gonna win. I think Newcastle are coming into that form now, so they could get it over in the Champions League as well.
You know what the problem with all of this conversation is that the managers play a big part of this. It's the likes of Pep Guardiola. It's the likes of Arne Slot. It's that Mikel Arteta. The problem is Mikel Arteta has failed 3 years in a row, right? Is he going to be able to do what Jamie just said? Is he going to be able to peak at the right time of the season, even with good players? Because we have seen other managers have good players and they don't peak at the right time. Can Mikel Arteta change to be the guy who actually peak at the right time? Even with the weapons, you can give him all the players he wants. Is he that guy to take them over the line? I think that is a question.
But
Is
you
he a
wouldn't
good
you wouldn't
manager?
know, you wouldn't know that until he has all his tools. I mean, and that's a if again if we look at this
But
season,
no one has all the tools. Liverpool didn't have. Can I just?
I'm just asking you a
Liverpool
question.
didn't. Liverpool this season didn't have. Liverpool basically had a front line that is so weak apart from Salah. Liverpool didn't have a DM. They created a DM that was consistent for 30 games in the season or 29 games or whatever until they got them over the line. Liverpool didn't have a consistent centre back. The goalkeeper, by the way, for Liverpool, Salah, played 14 games this season. Trent was injured. Conor Bradley was injured. Robertson was so inconsistent. It's about using what you have. No
Exactly.
team is perfect, Dayo.
I'm not saying that. I was just answering your question when you said, "Is Mikel?" You said again. I answered it. You said, "Is Mikel Arteta going to be the manager? Even if he has all his tools, can he get them over the line?" And I said, "We will never know that until a manager has all the tools, which is never going to happen." So you're right. You're right.
Arne Slot didn't have the tools, and he got them over the line.
I agree with you, but then again, I'm playing Kieran Tierney on my left wing as my left winger, and Mikel Merino as my striker. So if you're going to sit here and tell me
what about
that,
last year?
Hold on.
But that's Arteta's choice.
No, we're talking about this season. You're saying that a manager like Arne Slot found Gravenberch and turned him into a DM, created stuff out of nothing. And I'm saying
Szoboszlai was written off completely.
Exactly. And I'm saying Mikel Arteta turned Merino into a striker who has scored 6 goals in 7 games for him, literally from a midfield player. So we can sit here and talk about all these different reasons how a manager tweaked the player or used the player in a certain way or brought somebody in to do something, to do a job. I mean, this guy is playing Kieran Tierney over Raheem Sterling. That tells you a lot. It tells you what the team is going through. No excuses for Mikel Arteta.
No.
He laid his bed. He's going to lie in it.
Yeah, but Dayo, irregardless of that, I have to step in a little bit, Dayo, because I feel like irregardless of whether Tierney is starting or Sterling is starting,
or Marino,
tactics are still remain.
matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because the tactics are still remaining the same.
Yeah. So tactics again. This same tactics is what has kept us in second position with all the injuries and the lack of players. You talked about, so I'm answering Mo's question. Mo talked about Liverpool's front line that was weak. I don't think there's any weaker front line than having a left back as your left winger, a midfielder as your striker, and a 17-year-old who emerged this season, who we were not sure would emerge. Let's be realistic about it.
All right, so basically, what Dayo was saying.
So what I'm saying is, he's
yeah.
talking about how a manager can adapt, and I'm like, the fact that Mikel Arteta could adapt with those players and still remain in second position.
Oh yeah, the same Arteta who played.
And I'm not hailing second. I'm just saying, if that happened to any other team, I expected us to fall off at that rate. At that rate, you expect us now to not even be in the top 4.
Yeah,
we shouldn't be in the top 4 with everything you should not. Realistically.
Yeah, just to answer Mo's question, very simply, no. That the answer's no in it. Even if you give Arteta better players, do they have it in them to win the league title? No. We've seen it many a times in big games. Even when they didn't have players that weren't injured, that they crumble. They're just a good team in it. But in order to win a Premier League title, you can't just have a good manager and just a good team. You need something special. Arsenal don't have any special player. They don't have their manager isn't great in big moments. And then simple as that. So the more you remain like that, you're just going to stagnate. You've stagnated this season. Let's be honest. Arsenal have stagnated massively. The reason why they're still second is not because they're doing amazing. Because the rest of the players are rubbish. Sorry, not the players. The rest of the teams have been rubbish. Man United, rubbish. Chelsea fell off. I mean, that's it. I mean, Forest are having a good season, yeah, but that's an anomaly. So at the end of the day, they can buy Vinny or Rodrigo, and they can have flipping. Let's bring back Neymar in his prime. It's still not enough. Like, do you get me? Like, that's no trolling, no trolling. Yeah, this is me being honest.
Hold on,
It's being honest.
Ahmed, you say two things at the same time, and it confuses me. You just said Arsenal are a team that don't have that quality player that can do something, that can actually get them over. Like they don't have that stuff. But if you give them Vinny, who is a player, who is a star player that can do something, it still won't happen.
Yeah, but you know what Vinny has?
What exactly are you saying? Like it doesn't make any sense. Like, listen, you see, here's the thing about it. This is why I said when talking.
Vinny has Ancelotti. Who do you have?
No, this is what I'm saying. Like, when talking football with you, you just said something. Listen, manager or no manager, right? This is the same Ancelotti that coached Everton, right? Do you remember when he coached Everton?
He coached Everton and got Calvert-Lewin and bagging 20 goals.
Hold on. He coached Everton, right?
And came 8th as well.
Hold on. Why did he win the league with Everton? You've got
because Everton don't win titles, by the way. And he actually got Calvert-Lewin.
So my point
he actually got Calvert-Lewin and bagging loads of goals that season.
You want to talk about Calvert-Lewin's goals when we talk about Musalah's G&A? You said no, it doesn't matter.
No, because Calvert-Lewin's rubbish.
And
Carlo Ancelotti.
It doesn't matter. Let me finish what I'm saying.
This guy just talks.
You just said that the problem with Arsenal, and I agree with you that we don't have a star factor player that can.
So if you agree with me, why are you arguing then?
Hold on, but then you went on to say even if you have Vinny, it will not still happen. That doesn't make sense.
You need both.
That doesn't make sense, though.
If you actually listen, I said you don't have. If you actually listen and wheel back, if you actually listen, you don't have a special player. You don't have a special player that can do something out of nothing.
Stop. What if they get a special player, which is what Dayo said?
Hence why I was going to come up. They don't have a special manager because Vinny was under Zinedine Zidane, who's a quality manager. But Carlo Ancelotti took Vinny because Vinny started off poorly for Madrid the first 2 seasons. He weren't great. Ancelotti took him to the next level. So you need two. So it's not just good having one quality player.
You don't think Arteta is someone who can take Arsenal over the line?
No, he's just a good manager. Because
I think he's not someone that can take them over the line until he does. But that's going to be his job. He's either going to get them over the line or he's going to be sacked. Like that.
And the thing is, Arsenal still. The thing is, man, as long as Arsenal management are still giving him chances, the reality is he still have got a chance.
Bro, look at what Hansi Flick's doing with Barcelona, bro. Like how he's taking them to the next level. That's the type of but
that's a winner. That's a winner, though. Yeah, like Arteta is not a winner yet.
You know the funny thing again. I sat in the stream right when somebody said to me, it was a Newcastle fan. He said Eddie Howe. It was Phil. He said Eddie Howe is a better manager than Arteta, and I said yes, I agree. It's Philip. He's a Newcastle fan, and I said I agree with you. Eddie Howe has been coaching since 2006. Eddie Howe should be better than Mikel Arteta. The fact that Mikel Arteta, who spent his first 6 years at Arsenal as a senior manager, is literally still challenging. He's a newbie he's a Maresca who's been challenging for the last 3 years, literally. So you can sit here and try to shit on him. I don't care. The point is the facts say very differently. If you say he's that bad and you say the season, other teams are so bad this season is the only reason why Arsenal is second, what you're saying is that Liverpool, hey, they're lucky this season to be able to win the league because everybody else is bad. That's all you're simply saying. You're saying the season is poor, but the season hasn't been poor. Every team has had injuries. Every team has had issues. In fact, Chelsea at the beginning of the season looked like a team that was going to challenge. And by the way, if you want to use the word challenge, I don't think we've challenged this season as Arsenal.
Yeah, Chelsea fell off.
I'll say this: we've never been first this season. Arsenal has never been on top of the table this season, so we haven't even challenged this season.
But my thing is, Chelsea fell off, despite having despite having quality players, and their fall is down to their manager.
Listen, to sit here and banter not things that just don't like it. To me, it just doesn't make any sense. If you're going to talk the football, let's break it down. Mikel Arteta, you say he's not a good manager. Yet
I just said he's a good. Oh my god, he doesn't listen. I literally said he's a good manager.
He said he's not a good, but yet he's challenged for 3 seasons. You say, unless you have a staff.
Did I not say he's a good manager? Like I literally said, Arteta, bro. Ahmed, did I not say Arteta is a good manager?
Yeah,
but he's not special?
He basically said Arteta is a nearly man, bro. That's what he said.
It's very simple. Yeah, we've broken it down.
That's what he said. He said he's a nearly man, and the fact that you don't have a star player. And I said, okay, cool. So if you then have the star player.
But Saka is a star player. I put Saka even though.
Like I said again, I think Patrick, you heard me. You heard me at the beginning of the stream when I said one thing that I can expect from Saka is consistency. I love Saka because of his consistency.
Okay,
he's a star.
No, he's a star for me. In my
everybody. Let's remember when I first met, we used to argue. I think Saka is actually a star.
I
Saka
agree
can
with
go
you.
anywhere,
I agree with you. He's a star, but he's not the kind of player that will take the ball from the middle all of a sudden and dribble 4 players and go score. That's not what Saka will give me. Saka is a
But you describe Salah the same way. You describe Salah.
There is no
I
player in
know,
the
but-
Premier League now that does this. Not one.
I know. Hold on. But you do have players.
Kick you out of the stream.
He won't find the pass.
You do have players that you can sit down and say, you know what, in this game, he's going to make a difference. Now, Saka will make a difference in his own way for Arsenal in most games. In fact, up until his injury, he had the highest GA for Arsenal and had created the most big chances. And even since he's been injured, since he hasn't played since December, if I'm not mistaken, he still has the second highest big chances created in the Premier League up until now, right behind Mo Salah. So, yes, he is a star. Yes, he's an amazing player. But you need players in the team that are suddenly like, you know what, I'm done with this. Well, 0-0 is 10 more minutes. I'm just going to make it happen. I'm going to win a penalty. I'm going to dribble 2 or 3. I'm going to drive. Like, you need those kind of players. You need like a Vinny. You need like a Rafinha. Like, you know, somebody who just automatically just switches
And
on.
I can tell you guys something. The Premier League has... Can I hold on? Because I need to do these 2 super chats. I actually think that the Premier League has turned into a league that nobody can actually come in and do these things. The Premier League tactically and physically has turned into a league that someone like Vinny might come into the Premier League and don't do what he does for Real Madrid. He might do some glimpses of it. But the Premier League doesn't allow you to do this. It is turning into a team that is dominating and a team that is defending. People think that Vinny would come into the Premier League and dribble everyone and win every game on his own and dribble everyone. And oh my God, minute 60, 0-0, Vinny Jr. dribble 6 players and score. That doesn't happen in the Premier League. When is the last time we saw this happen? To be honest with you, the only guy lately that I've seen done this, what happened to Dayo, that I've seen done this lately is basically Kevin De Bruyne. When everyone in the game is just not playing, Kevin De Bruyne is like, I'm going to win this game. And he used to do this for Man City over the years. It's the only player that has done this lately. And there's nobody like him in the Premier League at the current moment. Let me do these 2 super chats before moving on. Ponzi is saying, people keep saying Arteta need this and that and everything. Pep's called the checkbook manager. Seems like Arteta gets the checkbook and still fails.
The one criticism I would have with Arteta is I do think he hasn't spent his money wisely. And I know we were talking about the sporting director previously. Like, you look at the signings that they probably should have made to take them to the next level. Like Gabriel Jesus, he doesn't really fancy him at the minute. Sterling's obviously in the summer on loan. Havertz up front. He obviously has made good signings. Zinchenko was another one. Like, some of his signings that you needed when he wanted to kind of build out the squad and take them to the next level has been poor. But that would be one criticism I would give him in terms of if he wanted to actually compete.
As well. That's what I literally said, that they've not spent Paul in. Everyone's crying. Like, I don't understand. Maybe I'm not saying it nicely.
The only thing they literally haven't spent on, if you're being honest, literally again, is the striker position again, and maybe the left wing position.
Yeah, and the striker one. The
Super chat is related. Arteta built a team with no single star, spread the team's talent out. That is credit to Arteta. Liverpool lose Salah, and the team is bad. Is that okay?
That's not necessarily true. They lost Saka, and there is like a clear, what's it called? Been a degradation in their attack. So what would
the 9 points worse off from last season.
Yeah.
Is that because of Bukayo Saka or is that because of the team?
I think Saka would.
Partially because of Saka.
I think Saka is
partially because of Saka, and then partially because of, in my personal opinion, also the team not having a good season as well. A lot of players having poor seasons.
Odegaard, when he got injured, he was obviously out injured at the start, but he came back. He took a long while. What was it? Remember they were making compilation on TikTok. He had like 35 shots before he scored a goal or something. But he took him a while to get going again. And yeah, it just hasn't clicked for Arsenal this year. To be honest, I think obviously injuries have played a part in that, but yeah, obviously, if I was an Arsenal fan, I would be disappointed.
Injuries are part of the game. That's on the club for not having a deeper squad.
Yeah, I wanna move the conversation a little bit, guys. It's like 17 likes on 200. We still have about over 450 people in the house, so hit that like button. It's international break. We want to help the algorithms. Come on, people, like the video underneath the under the live chat. Close the live chat and hit that like button. Let's get in the next 5 minutes to at least 200 likes. Hit that like button. Chelsea and Man City and Newcastle in the top 5. Who's the closest one to making it.
Newcastle.
I think, man, you have to. It's so hard to back against Man City. Like, it's just.
Not this Man City, Jamie. This Man City.
No, I know it's different this year. Even like the Brighton game, you're like they're 2-0 up, and you're expecting them just to go on and like walk the game, and then they drop points again. And I think they will, something like that will happen. But I just think they have the quality there. Newcastle are obviously, they have the momentum, and like I was saying earlier, they're peaking at the right time. But yeah, I think Chelsea are the ones kind of slipping, and they have a tough run in as well, which I think
Brighton haven't lost games in 5 games, Jamie. Brighton haven't lost a game.
Yeah. Where are they now? Are they 8? It's only like 5 points between like 4th and 10th or something.
Yeah,
mad.
and Newcastle actually have played only 28 games. So if they win their next game, they go into 4th position. Like everybody, 9 games. So they have a game in hand.
No. Yes.
Newcastle has 28
Oh
games.
my God.
Yeah, because
Newcastle
they
played 28 games.
If they win their next game,
then City get out of the top 5.
And you guys know that their game is against who? It's actually against Crystal Palace. It's a very winnable game. So Newcastle can be on 50 points. So it can be above Manchester City and Chelsea.
Yeah, I told you. City this season, like if we don't end up in Europa, we'll be lucky because we are stinking, and it's a stink fest, and we just have to accept it.
You know who I think needs to put in a lot of work this season. It's Chelsea, and I'll explain why I'm saying that. If they win the
Conference League,
they go to Europa, so they have that in the bag. Like they should go on and win that, and let that be their fail safe, right? Which is good, but they need to fight for top 4 so that they can get Champions League, because that way they're like, listen, not only did we get into Europa, even though we could have gone that route, again and done another year to come. We need to get they need to get Champions League. I think it will be good for them. That's what I think personally. I think Chelsea needs to literally go all out the rest of the 9 games of the season and just go ham. Like how last season Chelsea won their last 6 or 7 games.
They did,
they just went up. Yeah, if they can do that this season and actually make top 4. It will really
Do you see that comment, Dayo? This is the reason why I keep telling people.
No, I don't see it. I'm just saying that, but that's what they need. I'm saying what they need to do, because that's what.
Oh no, Dayo. I'm talking about a comment in the chat. You see, Dayo, this is why I've been warning people all season about City that this is not the City you're talking. They're saying we will go above Forest. Forests are so consistent. Forests are very stable. There's no way City is going above Forest. Keep dreaming. Right now, as a City fan, you have to accept 6 or 5th.
That's bro.
Yeah. I think for me, from a Chelsea perspective, again, so much of Chelsea just depends on, can we get back into form? Because we've not been in form for like the last 13 games, essentially. 14 games.
Do you think we're going to get back
into form?
Every single time. If we get back to form, every Chelsea fan tells me this.
No, I know. So I'm going to answer that question. I don't know. The question generally is, I'm a bit pessimistic. Right now, I'm quite pessimistic. I'll be honest. I'm a bit pessimistic.
They're not going to get top 4
because partially.
I thought Sancho's going to get in top 5. You fraud.
I think
Maresca's going to bottle it, bro. Trust me, he's going to bottle it.
Okay, but I think partially the issue is the guys that did leave, who got injured, during our poor performance and our poor run in general was because of injuries, right? Because we're in bad form. Jackson was in bad form. Madueke was in Kumsa form, as I like to call it. Yes, Lavio probably was in the best form, but other than that, the guy.
So if you don't get top 4, are you still keeping him?
I don't think so.
You can't sit on the fence. You have to say it, bro. Like,
listen, I said before, man. If you don't get top 4, and if you lose the Conference League,
he has to go.
Has to go. I need to see what it is. But at the end of the day,
bro, it's Chelsea.
But I think for me, my issue more so is it's not about the manager. It's more so like my problem is the sporting directors, bro. Why is he?
The ownership?
Yeah. That's such an easy answer, like to just.
It's not an easy answer because, bro, people making the same argument about Pochettino. You know what I mean? That was happening last season, right?
Yeah.
And Pochettino definitely was tactically inept for us for a number of reasons, right? But from a man management perspective, I always rated him from a man management perspective, at least from our club standpoint. But from a tactical perspective, he did not suit our team. But you're now going through the same problems again. But so again, what's going on. That's my issue. So
Nah, you can't have all those players, and get all those in the market, and then not at least get.
I feel like with a lot of hindsight, our market was very much rushed. I'll be honest.
It doesn't matter if it was rushed, though. It doesn't matter if it was rushed.
Listen, my prediction. Listen, Ahmed, worry about United,
Bro, listen, this is how I get the minute, bro. Like, listen, at the end of the day,
United fan, right? He's mank.
Bro,
he's a mank.
Bro, listen, at the end of the day, I keep the same energy in it. With Amorim, I'm personally done with him. I keep the same energy, so I'm personally done with him, and I think he's underachieving.
Want him gone?
Yeah, I want him gone, 100%. Yeah, I want him gone.
Hardly. He hasn't signed Dorgu. That's it.
I want him gone. I just I've made my decision a long time ago. But what I'm saying is, with Chelsea, logically speaking, you can't have all them players. I know they've got Maresca picks that bozo goalkeeper consistently. He rates him. He picks him. Chelsea fans are complaining about, if we had a proper goalkeeper. Well, hang on a minute. Why does your manager keep playing that same bozo keeper that you guys are complaining about? That's got nothing to do with
I think the
you've
problem
dropped points because of your goalkeeper, and the manager's the one that's
listen,
picking them.
You're speaking to the. Listen,
Hold on,
you're speaking.
hold on. Ahmed,
He's addressing me, Dayo. He's addressing me, Dayo. Let me finish it. Yeah, I'm just gonna say quickly. Bro, I understand everything you're saying. I say this stuff myself week in, week out. But the problem is, it's all well and good me just saying sack him. Okay, he's been sacked. But if the same issues persistent remain, then what do you want me to do? The same issues just persistent remain with this manager.
Yeah, but just because the same issues
because of the sporting directors.
Yeah, but the thing is, just because you've had issues in the past and you've done the same method, it doesn't mean you have to settle. You're Chelsea, innit? You're not Norwich.
I'm not saying you're not getting what I'm saying, Ahmed. If he's gone or not, I don't really care. That's not my issue. My issue is more so the guys that are bringing these type of managers to the club. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Why did Ahmed?
They got rid of Pochettino though. They got rid of Pochettino because he wanted his own, he wanted to bring in his own players. He wanted his own style. And they were like, no, we want someone that would just listen to us. So they brought in Maresca, who's a yes man. And if they get rid of Maresca, they're just bringing another yes man. So they're not going to bring in a winner who has personality about him. They just want someone that will basically allow them to buy and sign players who they want, make profit, and keep Chelsea as a business making money. That's what they want.
But Chelsea still have but Chelsea still buy all those players with the intention of trying to win. They wouldn't just if a club just solely cares about just making profit, they'll be very ineffective in the market. So,
but let's look at these players. You know what? Sorry, Mo.
I know you're gonna say exactly what I want.
Mo, let's look at these players. Yeah, let's look at these players that have been brought. Okay, listen, Sancho. The first half of the season, he was all right. He was actually playing decent football for us. But then the second half of the season, barely shoots the ball for us. You know what I mean? Very limited in what he's been giving me in the second half of the season, right? Neto, I'll give him some level of credit in the sense that he's actually trying. I think it's more so the way the manager's using him hasn't helped him at all, in my personal opinion. But the last few games, something has definitely changed in my eyes that has allowed him to be a bit more effective. Palmer's been out of form since, basically, in my opinion, just before Newcastle.
For the 2025, he's been out of form, Palmer. And I rate him
even 2024, right? Yeah. And then the next one, Jackson, been out of form as well. So what do you want me to do?
Maresca, okay. So how come
Madueke is the definition of hot and cold. 1 week he's cooking, the next week he's
my question is to you, is that you've started off the season well. The likes of Sancho was linking with Palmer. They were all Sancho and Palmer were doing really well at the start of the season.
Yes, because Ahmed, the reason why teams did not respect Chelsea in the beginning of the season, bro. The reason why they did not respect us because we were known as the team that one of the top 6 teams were. Listen, barbecue chicken. You gotta get a point here for sure. You know what I mean? We were legit, open. We were legit and open side. We weren't facing low blocks. The moment we started facing low blocks, these sort of mid blocks, that's when the issue started.
All right, no, but you've just identified, that Sancho was doing well at the start of the season. He was creating opportunities and he was linking up with Palmer. Palmer was doing really well at the start of the season. Nicholas Jackson was getting goals. And who else? And Nkunku, I think, chipped in here and there. Neto, I mean, I don't really rate him, but he was probably running around, being a headless chicken. My. So, and think about it. How come all those attackers at the same time, How come those attackers, those same attackers that were contributing at the first half of the season, how come is it they've all regressed at the same time? That means it's a managerial issue because you guys played completely different at the start. You was a lot more direct. You was opening teams up. Second half of the season, Chelsea are lethargic and they're boring. They're awful. It's down to the manager. You can't just gas up the players.
Can I say that before you go, Ahmed? I want to just do a big up, Ash. Congratulations! I know you are top of the table in the CAF qualifications. Great love and respect for the Jadon Falcons, the Sudanese national team. Big up, Al Sudan, for a deserved point against Senegal. Of course, considering the current war, top of the group, and inshallah, Sudan and Egypt to the World Cup finals. Inshallah, we won all the Arab teams in the World Cup. Inshallah, in America. So big up JJ, big up Habibi Ash for the support. Congratulations for the point. No one expected that. Of course, with the things that are happening in Sudan right now. Hopefully, Sudan will make it to the World Cup. The brothers in Sudan. Thank you, JJ, for this. Dayo is not weighing in on this conversation at all. Because
my thing is, yeah, what Ahmed is talking about the manager. Yes, we can criticize the manager. We can say manager out. I don't know. Listen. I probably wouldn't disagree with you on that one, yeah. But my issue more so is, yeah, that the first half of the season, at least until I'll probably say the Everton game, the teams we were facing were a lot more open. You know what I mean? It was a bit more end to end, that sort of thing. That's what allowed us to do what we wanted to do. But the moment we started, the moment teams decided to respect us a lot more, decided to go into this a bit more of a low block system. Yeah, the team, we weren't able to start coaxing teams out. We were creating limited chances. Our strikers wasn't scoring. Palmer declined as well at the same time. So we had a lot of good happening all at once, and then we had a lot of bad things happening at the same time at once. Right?
Ahmed, two things can be true. Maresca being a new manager in the league, he never played in the Premier League before. Other managers probably were figuring out his style in the first 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 games. It's not far-fetched to think that that's what other managers were doing. And he, of course, with his new style of play and the players that he had, of course, was, rode the wind. I think the issue was like at a stage, managers began to realize, okay, if we nullify this player and this player in Chelsea, and if Chelsea doesn't have this particular player playing, they'll play a different way. When you guys had Jackson, you were a lot more direct because of his running at the back and all that. The minute Jackson got injured, you guys are not playing that style of football again. Now, maybe that is part of the reasons why they are looking a little shaky, but that would be on the club to have actually bought a striker who can actually
100%. That's why I want to strike in January.
So that the manager can keep playing in a style that is balanced for the team. If he changes overnight, which is what happened with us as well, putting a player that is a midfielder in strike force, I was just laughing. I was like, you're making a meal with a striker. He's scoring, but I'm like, how long are you going to carry that on for? It's not going to be sustainable. Exactly. So that's the thing about it. When you look at that Chelsea squad, you can blame Maresca for certain things, maybe in certain games where he set them up wrongly in certain games. But you have to look at the beginning of the season and say he set them up right. And there were times where he set up that same team, set up that same way, but for some reason the other team played a different style of football where they played a low block and they figured them out. So yeah, it is what it is. Once you're figured out, they figure you out and they keep pushing. If you have injuries, it's going to play into the hands of whoever your opponents are. But to sit here and just say it's Maresca's fault alone, nah.
Yeah, but do you know what the problem is, Dayo? To actually pick on what you said, in the beginning of the season, we were convinced that Chelsea next season will be a main player. Even Chelsea fans now do not trust this. They think that next year is still going to be a transitional year, even if they get the signings. Like a lot of Chelsea so that, yeah, we're good to go. Yeah, this season we'll try to get in the Champions League. Next season, we might try to push to challenge, maybe not win it, but to challenge for the league a little bit, sustain our place in top 5. We are here end of March, and we're talking about Chelsea might not even make it to top 5. Completely missed.
But Mo, all of the things that we said at the beginning of the season, before a ball was kicked, was also based on projection of what we saw in the Chelsea squad. We looked at the quality of players that they had, you looked at the new manager, looked at what he did in the championship, and you're like, you know what, hey, there is something here. Now, if that thing does not materialize now, does it mean that Maresca is a bad manager? No. Does it mean that the players are terrible? No. It just means that look, if you squeeze a $100 bill, it's still a $100 bill. It's just squeezed. One is clean. One is
but maybe we have seen these players for who they really are. Like,
so that's one. Or maybe
can I tell you something? Or maybe Chelsea. Yeah, but can I tell you that Chelsea themselves are looking for a buyer for Jadon Sancho. That's a public.
I don't know. I
that's public
agree. I don't know.
information.
I agree. But that's what happens in football. You bring a player based on your projected skill set.
That was a wrong move. Sancho was never good in the Premier League for them to bring them in.
Listen, Mo, I agree with you, but I'm saying you bring him in based on your projection. You've not seen him kick a ball like, I think he can do it. If he doesn't do it, then move him on. They're doing good. If they can move him on and bring somebody better, that's what you do. You don't sit there and just hold on to the player that is not doing well for you, right? There's no point. So if you try something and it doesn't work, look, Chelsea may not get there this season or maybe even next season. I don't know. I can't speak for them. But the point is, there's something that club is doing that I appreciate, which is they are not doing the same thing over and over again, like insanity. If it's not working, they're changing it and changing. Something will work. They're not sitting on their oars, you know? So, yeah.
Well, the people that ask me why I'm obsessed with Sancho, because he's everything that Bowlers FC represent.
Can I ask Ahmed? Can I ask the question to Ahmed, bro? Honest question, yeah. Listen, I'm not a Sancho here or anything. Why can't Sancho shoot? You know, Sancho.
You know what's mad, Ahmed? Listen.
No,
I'll answer everything.
I need to ask this question because you know
Sancho
until the last game, not Arsenal, was the game before Arsenal. Yeah, he had a stat here that he hadn't had a shot since Boxing Day.
Okay.
There was a stat, genuine stat that we got there. So
Okay,
I want to know from you. I want to know from you why is he not shooting?
I'll answer everything.
Shot, bro.
I'll answer that. Yeah, I'll answer that. At the end of the day,
because he not makes a lot of people, and he thinks that is scoring.
Ahmed is the same guy that was sending me messages. Yeah.
What does Ahmed have to do with this?
Listen, I'm
tell me Ahmed sent me this. Answer the damn question about Jadon Sancho. Don't answer about Ahmed.
I'm gonna answer. Yeah. Ahmed sent me messages. Yeah. Said, yo, Ahmed, I can't lie. Yeah, Sancho's balling out, bro. And secondly, there was a lot of people that said Sancho's not going to cut it. He's not going to start for Chelsea. There's too many quality players. Now that he was cemented in the team, he was doing his thing at the start of the season. When people say, oh, he's not had a shot yet, bro, Sancho ain't this Salah player that's going to shoot 24 shots for the sake of shooting. He's a creative player.
We don't need 24, we need one.
Bro, I've seen him. People want to use stats here to shit on him. I've seen literally games of him. I've seen games of him passing it to Nicholas Jackson and Palmer. Nicholas Jackson is 9 games without a goal. Palmer is how many goals without a goal? There's a lot of attackers who have stagnated in Chelsea, and we want to choose Sancho, who is on.
Do you think Doku is great?
Can I say something?
Do you think Doku is good?
No, I think he's awful. Poor decision making and poor in the final third. He's awful.
Do you know that Doku?
But Sancho's been terrible at United and now Chelsea. He's been terrible.
Like the point I'm asking you, Ahmed, is the second half of the season.
Ahmed, you know what it is? You know what it is? I think Jadon Sancho is not cut out for the Premier League. He plays better.
That's another narrative.
And again, see, there's nothing wrong with that. No, it's not a narrative. There's some players, right? I'll tell you, there's some players that I can say, look, I'll give an example. That Nigeria has Victor Osimhen, right, who's playing in Turkey right now, who I think will kill it in the Premier League. And we have Victor Boniface, right, who also plays for Bayern Leverkusen in Germany. I don't think that he can kill it in the Premier League. I think he's suited for that league. There are certain players that are suited for certain.
So why did you not say that at the start of the season?
No, I'm saying for
why are you saying it now? He's saying it coincidentally, yeah. He's saying it now coincidentally. Now
I'm talking about me. I'm talking about me. I've said it from the beginning. I've like Sancho should never have come back to the Premier League. Ever since he left, I've always said it. I'm like Jadon Sancho should stay. Like it's like Musiala, right? Is another player who I think will struggle in the Premier League. He might eventually click, but the first 2 seasons he'll struggle, and that's why the players like that should stay where they are because they will thrive there. And that's a good league to be in.
This league is overrated. It's not a matter of like him not hacking the league.
I'm not saying the league is just. Listen again. I'm not saying. I'm saying it's a different style of play.
So why is it, if the league is overrated, why can't he?
Bro, listen. I'm going to answer it here. Sancho, when it comes to the Chelsea attack, is the easiest player to pin all of Chelsea's problems. It's the easiest player. They don't want to talk about Ahmed. Let me finish here. They don't want to talk about £60 million netto. They don't want to talk about £60 million netto who's been playing in the same league here and he's done nothing. They don't want to talk about Nicholas Jackson, who Ahmed, that's your guy, isn't he? He's been 10 games without a goal. Right, 10 games without a goal. If Sancho
for those 10 games,
if Sancho is creating chances, if Sancho is creating chances for Nicholas Jackson in 5 games and he's getting 0 assists, how is that on Sancho? Nicholas Jackson can't finish. Palmer has missed penalties. He's also been out of form. So the whole attack is out of form. How is that Sancho's fault if all of the attack is out of form? Please tell me.
Nobody's saying it's his fault, but just talking
But
about
you guys are
Sancho.
talking about Sancho.
No. Again,
You are,
Ahmed, you asked the question. Can you wait for an answer?
This is insane,
Can
man.
you wait for
I
an
am
answer?
asking.
Hold on, Ahmed, hold on. You asked the question. Can you wait for an
crazy.
answer?
Like,
Nobody's saying that every other
I've seen
player.
Sancho win games for Chelsea,
No,
but they want to
listen,
talk about Sancho being the
Nobody
problem.
is saying that every other player's lack of performance is based on
Like-
Sancho. We're talking about Sancho as a player and his own performances individually.
Yeah, he's been
Saying
Chelsea's best wide
listen,
player overall.
just like-
So what's
No,
wrong with his performances?
He's not been. Again,
Guys,
nobody's
you've not
saying.
watched Chelsea. You've not
Nobody's saying
watched them.
again. I know you're a Sancho. I know you're a Sancho
Bro, it's
fanboy.
not even
And
about-
I know you're a Sancho fanboy, and you have his poster.
You're a
Just
Sancho
be
fan,
getting,
bro.
I'll be honest,
You understand?
bro. He gets 2v1, 3v1. He's got Kukurea, arguably one of the best right backs in the league. Yeah, helping him out in that position. Yeah, inverting. And he's got more goals than him than on that side. So what are we trying to say?
Kukurea has more goals than Sancho.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yes,
hold on.
I'm pretty sure he has in the Premier League,
Now
bro.
it's a goals
I'm
thing.
not even
Now
gonna
it's
lie,
a
bro.
goals-
I'll be honest.
Now it's a goals thing. Madueke has more goals than Saka. Is he better than Saka?
No, but Madueke has how many
Oh,
goals?
here we go.
No, is Madueke better than Saka? Saka has 5 goals. Madueke has 10. We can play this goals thing as well. Is he better?
I think in terms of what
So-
he's done
so
this
again-
season, yes.
So again, Sancho's a creative winger. His game is not about bagging goals. It's not about
What is
bagging
it
goals.
when
What
you
is it
don't-
about? What is it
It's not
about?
about bagging goals. It's
He's,
about creating-
11 assists in 81 league games in the Premier League. So like he's not a creative
11
winger either.
assists. That's like a Grealish level player.
That is so misleading. It's so misleading.
But
How is it
it's-
misleading,
no,
though?
you're saying
That's
he's saying
misleading.
it's not goals, but like you're saying he's a creative attacker. I understand that.
Bro,
so like
you
is
can
it,
create
like, in what
many
sense?
opportunities for your team. Yeah, you can create many opportunities for your team and
Can I
not
give you
register the
something?
assist.
Can I give you
I
something?
don't-
You know
I don't- I
Doku?
don't-
You know Doku per 90 creates more chances than him. Doku played less minutes. But I'm giving you facts. You know dribbles? Doku dribbles better than him. He's faster, he's quicker,
No, he
he's
doesn't.
more agile. Okay? He's more agile. Take-ons, Doku take on more. Habibi. Based on even eye test, Doku's a better dribbler than Sancho.
Oh,
Doku would cook
Doku and
any
dribbling.
fullback in the league, right? You're talking about decision making. Doku
Oh my-
literally created.
oh my God.
Doku created more chances per 90. By the way, I'm not here saying that Doku's good. They both have the same problem. They
Ahmed,
don't have enough output for a winger.
It's crazy.
Ahmed, Sancho dribbling somebody on the
This is
touch
bad-
line.
this is
Hold
crazy.
on, listen. Sancho dribbling somebody on the touch line and overcrossing the ball beyond the 18-yard box is not creating a chance. Don't look at him dribbling or him driving past the player and overcrossing the ball, over hitting the ball.
Then he's
He's
like,
not done that.
As
He's
him
not
create-
done that. He's not done that. I've seen Sancho. Yeah, hold on. Let me
What's the
finish it.
difference
No,
between
no,
Sancho and
no,
Doku?
no.
What's the
Bro.
difference between Sancho and Doku, honestly?
You know what it is? Yeah, this is the most.
Can I tell you
stupidest
something?
thing- This is the most stupidest thing I've heard, yeah, because people are
Thank
talking
you,
about
Jay.
Doku and
Appreciate it,
Sancho. This is the people talk about Doku and Sancho. Sancho, yeah. When I talk about creating chances, I'm not saying dribbling past a player and just hitting the cross for the sake of hitting it. Sancho's placement and decision making, every time there's an overlap, Sancho will never dribble past 4 players for the sake of it and bump into players. He will never overhit passes like that consistently. Most of the time, yeah, 9 times out of 10, he will always make the right pass. He will never do something stupid. Comparing him to Doku is the
He
complete
does a lot
opposite.
of stupid shit, bro. He passes
Bro.
back. He doesn't take risks, bro.
Bro, he does take. I've seen him pass to literally Palmer
He
twice.
doesn't take risks.
Did you what?
bro.
I've seen him against
Can I tell
Southampton.
you the bottom line?
Southampton.
If I have
Southampton-
Doku,
so why did you not win that game then convincingly?
bro,
Beat Southampton
Southampton.
4-0. What are you talking about?
Ahmed, that Southampton game. Who's the
They
one
won
that gave
4-0,
it?
bro. They won 4-0, bro.
Bro, hold on. Who won that penalty against Southampton? Who won the penalty?
Brother, we won 4-0. Why
Who won
are
the
we
penalty?
against Southampton?
Southampton.
That penalty that Palmer missed. Who won the penalty and who was creating for him? So you're talking about. So when he's doing his job,
This is insane.
Bro,
This is
like-
insane.
Wallahi, this is really insane. I've never seen
it's not
this.
insane.
How are you
It's not insane.
debating this? Wallahi, it's insane.
It's not
It
insane.
is insane that if
It's not.
you defend Sancho with your life,
It's not. I do the same thing with Ahmed. I do the same thing with Xerxes. When I see a good player, bro, I look past the whole output thing. I'm talking about what they're doing on the pitch. I do the whole thing what they're doing on the pitch.
at the end, football is
Bro,
about. It's
nah, what's he
you
talking
make-
about?
my goodness me.
It's either
Bro,
you make
my
a chance,
So-
you
so-
provide an assist, you provide a chance, you score a goal, you
Okay.
put in a good cross. Doku, ya Habibi, factually
Okay.
speaking, you
That's
say
crazy.
Doku is bad. Ya Habibi, let me finish. You say Doku is bad, right? Doku
trash.
Doku per 90 has created the same amount of chances as Jadon Sancho. So Jadon Sancho is not special because you said that Doku's crap.
Bro, Doku, yeah.
What is bro? Don't bro me.
Doku,
Answer this.
yeah. Doku is going to overhit crosses and just pass and spam balls into the box, and that will count as a chance created. Yeah, Sancho is not going to wastefully just cross for the sake of crossing. Well, I don't know what these guys are talking about. Yeah, I've just told you. Ahmed knows as well. Ahmed knows that. I've seen this guy. Yeah, you know what's mad? You know what's mad? When guys don't watch. No, listen. Let me finish. When guys don't watch games, when guys don't watch games.
We do watch games. Don't come with this fucking narrative.
You don't watch. You don't watch them.
Don't come with this narrative.
You don't watch the games.
We have a Chelsea fan that fucking does a watch along for every single Chelsea game in his life.
Yes. No, because the thing is, this narrative that we would not be having this conversation if Chelsea have not fallen off. We're just coincidentally doing it because Chelsea have.
The difference is crazy. Me and Ahmed, the Bridge Nation, like and subscribe, have been having the same conversation since Sancho started the season well, and then after this, wallahi, Ahmed can attest. After about 7 or 8 games, I told Ahmed why Sancho has stopped producing anything.
Why? And the whole attack has not produced.
And I'm going to tell you what happened is it's a blip. He'll come back. It's a blip. He'll come back. It's a blip. He'll come back. And he never came back.
The whole attack.
We're sending him back. The good thing for you, Ahmed, is we're sending him back.
Ahmed. You know what's mad? Yeah, is that their whole attack.
He's coming back to Man U.
Their whole attack has not produced anything. If Jackson and Palmer
No, but
the thing is, but this is Ahmed. You're talking about Sancho, Jackson, Palmer, Neto, Madueke have not done anything as of late, and you guys are talking about if the whole attack here was cooking and he was the only one that was not producing, I would agree with you. Their whole attack has absolutely their whole attack here.
Yeah, but we're cooking everyone else.
We have agreed and identified
when he's cooking against Nottingham Forest. Yeah, when he's getting past Nottingham Forest and getting past Oli Aina and literally linking with Palmer and setting. He doesn't want to talk about it.
Oh, but listen, I was talking about it then, Ahmed, but that was earlier in the season.
So what are we just going to?
And you know what that was? I went to the game for that one. I actually was at Stamford Bridge for that game. Yeah, that was I think in October or like September. If I'm not mistaken, the game we were talking about, bro. We are now in March, almost April, in like 1 week.
Yeah.
So let me do this super chat because it's Sancho's not good. It's good. And he's not the problem. The system is imbalanced due to injuries. Maresca refuses to adapt. Even Crystal Palace has been dead. No, even not Crystal Palace. Even Cole Palmer has been dead. It's no coincidence. So Yusuf agrees with Ahmed that it's a managerial issue. I agree with Cole Palmer. I just disagree with the Sancho take. Yusuf, to be honest with you, I disagree with the Sancho take. I think Sancho has dropped off a little bit. He's not a bad. I never said Sancho's a bad player because I've seen him play magnificent football for Dortmund. Amazing. I've seen him cook in the Bundesliga. Last season when he joined Dortmund, the second half of the season, he was very, very good. He was the superstar. Maybe as Dayo said, maybe the Premier League is too physical for him. Maybe the Premier League is too quick. Maybe the tactical aspect of the Premier League is too much for him.
He didn't have the necessary acceleration. In my personal opinion,
maybe the Premier League didn't have the necessary. Hold on. Maybe the Premier League is even too slow for him. Whatever the case is, he's more suited. He's more suited to a different league. And again, I'll say this: I'm not even dissing him. He's a good player. Sancho is a good player.
We have seen it.
Listen, the problem that I have is if you're a good player, even when everybody else is playing badly, we will see that you at least you did your own job and you're standing out. This guy has 19 crosses in 23 games. Jadon Sancho this season. 19 crosses in 23 games.
What kind of meaningless stat is 19 crosses? What kind of meaningless stat is that?
Listen, as a winger.
It's so meaningless. It's so meaningless.
Say whatever. Listen, say
Ahmed,
whatever.
What Dayo means is that it's either
as a winger. Listen, as a winger,
if you have to do something on the pitch.
Hold on.
Did you not watch the Arsenal game?
Mo. I want
what the hell are they creating in general?
I want to now speak. I want to speak to like a Bukayo Saka right before he got injured. Had created the most big chances and Arsenal did not put it away. At least we know Saka was doing his job. Arsenal was.
The guy's comparing Arsenal, who are in a stable team, where everything runs through Saka, to a team that's imbalanced.
No,
crazy.
Please stop.
That's crazy.
No, please stop. We're talking about individual players, outputs and performances, regardless of what your teammates are doing. If your team is playing well and you're playing better, you stand out. If your team is playing badly and you're playing well, you still stand out. You'll be like, oh, when Cole Palmer carried Chelsea last season, everybody saw Cole Palmer stand out throughout the whole season, regardless of how Chelsea played. Whether they played good.
So if a player like Palmer that can carry Chelsea, why has he dropped off then? Is that just Palmer not being that good then? What's it down to then?
So my point again is, maybe Jadon Sancho is not cut out for this league, because every time we've seen him in the Premier League in any team, even for your club, he did not perform. He had to go to Dortmund or Germany for us to see Jadon Sancho at his best. So my point is, I'm not saying he's a horrible player. I'm just saying he might not be cut out for the Premier League, and that's fair to say.
So why did you not say that at the start of the season when he was doing well?
I said that at the start of the
No,
season.
you didn't. No, you didn't.
Excuse me,
No, you didn't.
So Ahmed,
You didn't. You weren't. You're only saying it now, yeah,
Ahmed,
because it's popular
Ahmed,
to say, oh, he's not that good anymore.
Ahmed,
It's just changing narrative.
when you guys signed him from Man U, when they said Dortmund wasn't signing him, I made a statement. Go look at one of our first streams. I said Sancho is making the biggest mistake of his life coming back to the Premier League. He should stay in Germany.
Bro.
I literally said that. The same way I said when I don't remember what team it was that was talking about Victor Boniface, the Nigerian striker, and I said, don't bring that guy to the Premier League. He's not going to cut it for them. There are certain players that you know. There are certain players that you look at and you're like, they're cut out for a certain league because they stand out there. Nobody's saying that the Premier League is tougher than this or better. No, it's like fingers. Not every finger is your pointing finger. Jadon Sancho might be here. Let him go here. He might not be here, or he might just be here because he's that horrible. If that's
anyway, we're gonna move on from Sancho. Listen, people, I don't want to keep the guys for long. We're closing in 2 hours in the international break. That is fucking crazy. But people are bored. Guys, hit that like button before you go. I want to thank everyone that supported the channel. Tomorrow we'll do the What If stream in the afternoon UK time. That would be a great stream for you guys to contribute as well. A What If stream as well. Dayo, banter on the pitch. Glad to have you back. The Bridge Nation. Glad to have you back. Make sure to check out the Bridge Nation. It's in the description as well. AA United, Ahmed, who turned off his camera because we slagged off Sancho. He got upset. Of course, that's why he turned off his camera. And of course, True City fan Patrick. And of course, Jamie's story, the football story in the description as well. I want to thank everyone that is here. This will take you to K-Mac. We try to support K-Mac. He's live. He was always here on the channel. And go and take Judgmo Raid. Right? And we'll see what happens coming days. And we're out of here, people. Like the video before you go, guys. Like the video.